Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured, don't get your money's worth. Really show, it happened alright. You gotta see the show. It's a dynamo. You gotta see the show. It's rock and roll. Oh, right before your eyes, people laughed up from the skies. And he laughs until he cries. And he dies, and he dies. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. You gotta see the show. It's a dynamo. You gotta see the show. It's rock and roll. Soon the gypsy queen in a glaze of Vaseline will perform on guillotine. What a scene, what a scene. Next up on the stand, will you please extend a hand to Alexander's ragtime band? Dixieland, Dixieland. Roll on, roll on, roll on. See the show. Performing on the stool, we recite to make you drool. Seven virgins and a mule. Keep it cool, keep it cool. We don't like it to be known. The exhibits that were shown were exclusively our own. All our own, all our own. Come and see the show. Come and see the show. Come and see the show.
Free we go to the carnival. Surely be waiting there for us.
It's going to be a carnival as together we live the everyday world. See the blue lagoon, the color lights, hear the tinsel tune as it invites everyone to go to the magic show. Colors and brand new blossoms are everywhere. This way, you will find the thrill of living. Touch the stars on high, diamonds in the sky. Come to the carnival, come to the carnival, come to the carnival.
Hey, come on, and welcome to the second annual Psychesoap Karnevil, where everything is all fun and games until somebody loses a left testicle. Yeah, it is time to Mikey. The mighty show! Woo! Woo! Doop-doop-doop! Ba-doop-doop! Ba-doop-doop! Psychesoap! Doop-doop-doop! Doop-doop-doop! Yeah, I'm in the place! Do-do-do! Give you taste! Do-do-do! Kick him in the nuts! Do-do-do! In your face! Do-do-do! Psychesoap! Party time in the bucket episode! Woo! Hey! You shut! You watch my show. Hey! Get me some homies, mister! Hey! You better check to see if you're still subscribed. Check to see if you're still subscribed! Hey! Check it! Yeah? You see that next to my name? Right? Right of that? Yeah, you know. Hey! Why aren't you subscribed? You better do that. Or I'm gonna be to get you. Ooh, I'm gonna be to get you. Ooh. Hey, you shut. Now, that intro is kind of like from the first one, but then I added a few things into it, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I might get my channel nuked for this. But yeah, man, get me some homies. You better get out there. You give me some homies. I need homies for the show. Where's the fuck? I don't get any homies for my show. I'm gonna shut the whole thing down. Peanut Gallery? Where the hell did you come from? I thought I killed you in the last show. What? Shut! You shut! So, you know I do what I want. You know I be the do what I want. Hey, you watch my show, where I'm gonna be the biggest get you in the history of the get you. Now, hey, you stop. Wait a minute, let me get that out the way. man, what is going on? Hey, so you're lying. You stop being stupid duty pee-pee and do the show. Yeah, let me get into the comments. Okay. And then we got the story. Yeah. And then we talk about the stupid duty story and everything. And my stupid vacation was not long enough last weekend. I hate that. I hate that. You have a little vacation, and then like toward the second half, damn near the end, shit starts getting fun, and you're like, what was this shit at in the beginning? Ooh, I'm mad at you. I'm big mad at you. Hey, no, I'm kidding. Weather check. Whoa, weather check. Okay, so we know it's June. I know what the fuck? And I'm close to Canada, bro. I'm close to fucking Canada. And it is exactly 100 degrees out here. Go! Get the fire brigade! Get the fire brigade! For the building starts to really burn! Boom! You know? Oh, man. So in my neck of the woods, it's like, what, 102 right now? And I'm next door to the park, which the park is next door to the lake, and the Karnevil is going to be there. And if you are from outside the U.S., convert your shit to convert your shit from Celsius. You know I'm from America, boy. You know I'm America. Weather check. I got 100. Look, here, I'll put it up here. I got 100, and then hot. Yes, because that's the problem. You see, this is so that's my problem. I see there's triple digit in this motherfucker. Yeah, it is. It's fucking hot. Hey, it's hot. This is terrible, man. Oh my god. And then being on top of that, being like next to a lake, river, or what have you, and okay, how the fuck am I close to Florida and this shit feels like no, I'm close to Canada, but it feels like Florida in this bitch. Like what the fuck? Man, David, what's up? What's up, man? What's happening, dude? What's happening, bro? So you cracked the triple digits there. Oh shit. Goddamn dude, titty hot. Hey, yeah, man, it's all of us, man. It's burning fire, but yo, and this is a neighboring state to us. That's the crazy thing about it, right? So there's like a rare winter summer storm to strike with 2 feet of snow. Like, what the fuck, Montana? What the hell? It's probably like 70 there now, right? What the fuck, bro? So a rare summer winter storm forecast to hit parts of Montana over this weekend with up to 2 feet of snow set to fall in parts. The National Weather Service has issued another winter storm watch for parts of northwest Montana from Saturday afternoon to Sunday morning. What the fuck? Okay, well, up to 24 inches of snow. Well, they got that kind of fucked up because 24 inches of snow is 2 feet of snow. I don't know. They might have AI'd this shit. Are now expected to fall on elevations above 6,000 feet and up to 6 inches below. The NWS had previously said the storm was expected to produce up to 12 inches of snowfall above 6,000 feet and as much as 4 inches in valley areas. What the fuck? Hey, yo, Dave, you know how it is over there. Triple digits. And, Colorado's a mountainous state. I've lived there. And yeah, I mean, as you get higher and higher up in now, the whole state's desert, you know, deciduous forest in some parts like, Fort Collins, Greeley, and shit like that. But then eastern Colorado is kind of like Arizona. West of Colorado is just like, I mean, any other forest like state. Okay, the northern half of Colorado is much like, up there in the Montana, where this shit is coming from, and below the state is kind of like, New Mexico and Arizona, Texas, and all that arid, dry desert shit. Yeah, I know how that shit is. It's some bullshit, man. Man. And they're over in Montana. Hey, y'all might want to give us some of that shit. Y'all might want to what? Oh, okay. So this shit that I'm showing is is what it looked like in January. Now that I get it. But in June, what the frick? What the frick? What the security birdie? What the frick? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's kind of weird. Now, back to this. I don't know. What is this? So it goes, why it matters. The National Weather Service has warned that there could be considerable disruptions to normal activities, including dangerous or impossible travel conditions in areas. Avoid travel in the impacted areas if possible, it said. It added that there could be widespread closures and disruptions to infrastructure, and that power outages could occur from falling trees. What the? In June? Really, motherfuckers? I don't get that, man. Hey, what? Now, yeah, because they're probably talking about Glacier National Park. Including going to the Sun Road, Logan Pass, Marias Pass, Pole Bridge, along with the Flathead National Forest. Hazardous travel conditions, especially on going to the Sun Road, Looking Glass Road, and US Highway 89 over the Hudson Bay Divide, the NWS said. Now, dangerous backcountry conditions, especially for those hiking in areas of exposure due to icy trail conditions and or those camping in the backcountry. Ooh, the combination of heavy, wet snow accumulating on trees and power lines along with the gusty winds may lead to power outages. And ain't that what? Really? I mean, because in northern states, most of our power is, from box to box to box and underground. Those wires are underground. Not so much really in power lines like in the southern states like Texas and Mississippi, shit like that. And let me see here. What people are saying, the Northwest Forecast Office in Missoula, Montana. Damn. Okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, so they wrote on Twitter or X on Wednesday, high elevation snow is anticipated in Glacier National Park Saturday evening into Sunday. If you plan to recreate, be prepared for difficult conditions in the backcountry. It added difficult backcountry recreation due to low visibility, snow covered ground. Beware heightened risk of hypothermia. What the fuck? What the? Heavy rain in lower elevations may cause rock or debris slides. Now, what happens next? Travelers planning visits to Glacier National this weekend are advised to check weather and road updates frequently and consider alternative plans. Hypothermia risks and infrastructure disruptions are possible if snow accumulates more rapidly than expected. The NWS will issue regular forecast updates on its website over the weekend. Here in June? Sometimes the snow comes down in June. What the fuck? Hey, man. We're up here burning our. You know what'd be crazy? If the snow moves on, but the only thing that's gonna happen by the time it gets to us, because we're next door to them, to the east, where I'm at, my neck of the woods, is that, dude, it's gonna fucking probably turn into like a summer rain, something like that. 75 degrees, you know. I say 75 at the high, and the low would probably be 69 or some shit. I don't know. And being that I'm near a motherfucking lake or river, body of water, it's gonna be fucking humid as fuck. Like, what the hell, man? This is stupid. I don't get it, man. Stupid weather. I don't. Hey, weather check. That's it. Yeah, man. So I'm expecting for this to go on and happen for like, you know, the rest of the month. Well, the rest of this summer. I mean, where I'm at, the summers are short and they don't end till about the beginning of October, into September, some shit like that. So, yeah, I don't know. For everybody, yeah, dude, stay your ass near some AC. Stay your ass near a fan or some shade. Drink a lot of fucking water. But if you're in Montana, keep your heat on, baby. What the fuck? That is weird. But it does happen. I mean, I've seen some snows here in my neck of the woods into the Dakotas that were like snow, actual snow in June, like 40, you know? And then a week later, it then starts to go up to the 80s, the 90s, and other shit like that, right? And I'm going to get you into something a little bit different, though. But yo, if you are putting up your weather check, convert your shit from Celsius, especially you European Aussie motherfuckers, you Kiwi motherfuckers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Celsius. Get that Euro trash about here, boy. Oh man. So this map here, and they'll put this up. I'll put this up. We'll talk about it here in a minute. Oh shit. Oh, Putin and Trump wants to strike back. We'll talk about that for the Bible told me so. War. In just a minute, but we're still on, natural disasters and everything like that. So I'll go ahead and play this. Show them what we got. Yeah. Let me go ahead and pause that, move that, and
skimmers that feed into a.
Oh man, I forgot. Hold up. Let me do this real quick. I should have did that at the beginning of the fucking show. Hey, so you're live. Stop that. Don't be a stupid dude PB. Show them this shit. All right, is everything's everything? Okay, everything's good. Let's go.
The Coast Guard and the contractor are using oil-absorbent materials and skimmers that feed into a 4,000-gallon pump truck. That also includes, in addition to the over 100 personnel who have worked through the night, that includes the fact that we have 3 skimmers out here. We have 6 vac trucks. We have 1,000 feet of sweep. And we have 600 feet of boom already deployed. And as of this morning, we have no evidence to suggest there is any impact on drinking water in the area.
So, wow.
The Australian government has...
No, go back. Talking about the water. Hey, where am I at? We're talking about the stupid dude of water. Okay, so what's really going on here? Now, a new study by researchers at Columbia University has revealed the states that have higher rates of arsenic in public drinking water systems. Whoa. Oh, man, what the fuck? I spilled my fucking drink. Okay, now, A new study by researchers at Columbia University has revealed the states that have higher rates of arsenic in public drinking water systems, most of which are in the West and Midwest. Ooh. Michigan, South Dakota. Oh, that's my neck of the woods. Fuck. Nevada and California were all states that had areas with levels of higher than 5 micrograms per liter of arsenic in the drinking water. The study found that even low levels of arsenic in drinking water may increase the risk of below average birth rate and other adverse birth outcomes. Ooh, the water gonna be to get you. You better go get bottled water. You better go get the water, beans, bullets. So with beans, bullets, and water, and that's BBW. Hey, you shot. Let me get back to this. Now, arsenic is a natural element that can be found in soil, sediments, groundwater, meaning it can feed into public drinking water systems. Water sources in some parts of the United States have higher naturally occurring levels of inorganic arsenic than other areas, according to the EPA. Well, everything that the EPA said is true, right? At high levels, exposure to arsenic can cause symptoms ranging from nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, indigestion, to dehydration and shock. Now, long-term exposure has been associated with skin disorders and increased risks for diabetes, boy, high blood pressure, and several types of cancer. Now, while the EPA has determined that there is a safe level of exposure at less than 10 micrograms per liter, the new study suggests that the maximum level of accepted arsenic exposure may still be associated with health risks. What the fuck? And then, now, those that are listening to the show can't see this map. What the fuck? So, Washington State, watch out. Utah, bruh, you in the mountains. Why? Why? Maybe, just maybe, it either had something to do with that state between the time of the gold rushes when they were going on in the late 19th century. And other than that, and just as much as that, the space race, when we started building nukes, nuke arms and all of that. I mean, Nevada looks like it's not even really affected, but if you look at the state in the northern eastern parts, high levels of arsenic to make you go, ooh. And you know what? You don't want to get all on some shit, you know what I'm saying? And be one of them things that make you go, damn. And that, speaking of which, things that make you go, damn. By Psychesoap. And that's the Karnevil sideshow. Woo! Yeah. That's right. And I'll be getting into these comments real quick about this, but that is some crazy shit though. Okay, we know what's up with Michigan, and some of us pretty much know why the water is that way, because it became a national story decades ago, and it's still on to this day. Remember what happened to Flint, Michigan? Ooh, hoo, hoo. You do not want to be in no Michigan, bruh. I mean, and what's strange is that, and Gary, Indiana was ranked as one of the cities with the dirtiest water, And according to this map, it does not look like, you know, it's affected. But let me see. The colors of the states actually mean that there's, I think it means people that participate in this so-called study. You know what I'm saying? And once you know that happens, then that's what's going to be what's up. But, we see states like Colorado, and I know you had mentioned that, but when I go to that, you had mentioned that, David, a little bit. But here's the thing: when I lived there, and I had gotten data in some of the cities with the most cleanest drinking water, and Colorado usually would top a top 10 list. And it makes sense because the snow runoff does wonders out there. And when I was there, and I tried it, and I was like, man, this shit is good. Well, really, it's great during the winter months, you know, the snow runoff and shit like that. And no, I seen no bad effects. But when I came here to my neck of the woods in South Dakota, it was a bitch, man. Like, what the fuck, dude? All right, so we see some shit here on the map. Cali's got dirty water, but you know, the water wars, the gold rush, and all of that, you add all of that and what's been happening in that state, despite the wonderful looking wildlife outside of the cities. But if you really look at this shit, yeah, California ain't no better either, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna look at some. Yeah, man. Look at that thing. And yo, earlier when I did start the show, for those that did tune in late, weather check, weather check. Out here it is hot as fuck, and I'm close to Canada. You look at this map. You see the map? You see that shit? I am close to Canada, and motherfucker is 102. It is 102 right now. It is 102. Ooh, 102. We're fucked. We're fucked. We're gonna burn. We're gonna die. Heat exhaustion. We're the fuck. All right. Okay. So, some of the channel shout outs as well. Char, how you doing, Char? Hello. Hey, Char. My name Psychesoap, and I like to say hello. That's to the red and the brown, the green and the blue and the purple and yellow. Check it. You know that. Skibbity woo wop the bebop the doo doo doo. Guess what? Phoenix, we love you. He's in this motherfucker. How you doing? And yeah, it wouldn't be a bucket. It would not be an in the bucket show without the brother coming here to say what's happening. You know who he is. When I play this, you already know this guy. Those that watch my show know who this is, man. Cause Swedish Chef knows what this is. Alright, you know he's known as. What's happening, you filthy dirty rigger? What's happening with you? Ooh. Skeleton! Yeah, you know it's part-time excellent. Cause you in the bucket, baby. Yes, you in the bucket. Welcome to the bucket! We got bucket! What it is, man. Okay, yeah. An anti-Zionist named David. How you doing, man? We're gonna talk a little bit about that Israel-Iran thing. We might just talk about a little bit of that shit. It's kind of stupid. All right. Speaking of which, man, man, Dave, Georgetown, dude, Georgetown, wow, wonderful wonderful country, wonderful nature. I mean, deciduous forests on mountains. That shit looked nice, man. Hell, I even vacationed out there. Halloween. Yes, Halloween. This was about like 4, maybe 5 years ago. And shit, yeah, this was between my birthday and Halloween, closest to Halloween. How I remember is because I was at a resort. I was at a resort or a Momo when that was happening, and they got if you're talking about that Georgetown, that's where I was, and they have this nice one joint. You know what I'm saying? Nice little restaurant out there. Nice little motherfucking what they call that casinos all off in that area. And they had tunnels to drive through and all that good shit. You know, Colorado is great looking shit, but for the longest time it was a red state, and then it became a purple state when I lived there, and then now it's a blue state. Yeah, it's Colorado. Okay, Colorado. It ain't nothing but California with mountains. That's all. That's all. Because Californians they either move to Colorado or they move to Austin, fucking Texas. I already know you don't even need to just. But Georgetown was nice. Georgetown was nice because it hit 85. No, there's some. There's a few like hills, bubbling hill activity over in that area, man. Yeah, I spent I spent the vacation out there to Georgetown, really. Just to check out the casinos and kick it. Rest and risk, as I would call it. It was pretty nice. It's not super deep in the mountains. Shit. That was like high desert, but no, it was high forest. Not it could. Okay, Colorado's kind of different because if you look like right there when you get to Colorado, it's a square state. And, I mean, it ain't too hard to find. Eastern part of it starts to looking like Great Plains toward the north. You know, whatever. And then you go to the south part of it, and then it starts looking like Texas. You go to the western part of Colorado, the western corner, the southwest corner. That where the four corners are at. You got a few. There's still the Continental Divide, and you see the mountains and whatnot, and it can get really tough. But I mean, that's where on the real, on where Colorado borders Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It starts looking like the desert, but it starts getting higher and higher until you get to the mountains, snow summits, and all of that, and you're starting to look at the northwestern country of Colorado. You know what I'm saying? And it starts looking like the other square state, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, some shit like that, in Big Sky. When you start to get the Big Sky country, shit like that, But yeah, I've been to Georgetown. Colorado. Men dying over archaic nonsense. It's a damn shame. Yeah, we could talk about that later. Tom Landry, what is that? What is shit? No, I know what it is. We talked about it a few shows back. Word it up. What up? All right. Soap is in the face. Hey! We have a new watcher. And his name is Shiite Posa. Now. Hello. My name is Soap. I eat fire. Fire, I tell you. All right. Oh, come on, Tom. Come on now, Soap. Arsenic never hurt nobody. In fact, a little goes a long way. Hey, no. Arsenic is evil, and it kills people, and it's bad, and it's evil. Oh, shit. All right, man. So, yeah, he supposed to say, Mr. Smith, welcome back. We missed you guys. We missed you. Give me some sugar.
Gay!
Hammer! Hammer! Hey, Hammer! You shut! You stop! No, you're not. We're doing a show. Word up, man. Okay, so that's this shit. You know, levels of arsenic in the water. That does happen. But, I mean, there's many reasons we can get into as to why no one does that or why people don't do studies based on it. Some of that shit seems too left wing. Whatever. Or however you want to put it, you know. Fuck it. Fuck it. I don't even want to talk about it no more, man. It's irrelevant to me, man. What the fuck, man? I mean, why would you want to even do that? Here's the crazy shit. You know what I be talking about on my show, though. You know what I say on my show. And some of y'all was watching this shit about a Karen, you know, an actual Karen in the environment. Yes. Yeah. Yes, an actual Karen in the environment. And this shit gets wild, you know what I'm saying?
Gay!
Hammer! Hammer! Hey, Hammer, you stop. You stop. I do the won't. Do the won't. Watch my show.
Now steady, big fellow.
Hammer, you stop. You stop. Hammer! Hey, you stop that shit. Now, we're going to talk about the lowest common denominator over here. All right. And I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with this shit. You know, it's the Karen Reed thing. And she was in a retrial. Her boyfriend was a cop, right? And from what I was hearing here, she was how you say this? She got caught up in some shit where she ran over her boyfriend? What the fuck? I mean, I'm only talking about this because it's that old milk cow funk, baby. Yeah. All right. So you know where this Karen belongs. Now look at that. I'm gonna give you a moment here. Karen is in the 35 to 45 years category, which means that is kind of millennial, kind of Gen X looking bitch here. And she got up in some type of a little, you know, she jumped out of a jelly and went into a jam. Let's talk about it like that, you know. And I'm gonna put this on up here to see what was going on with that. All right. Okay, here we go. 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 Yeah, because you're in the bucket and you're in my show. You watch my show. I'll be to get you.
Go to Fox News national correspondent Brian Yennis, who is outside the courthouse in Massachusetts. Brian, I assume the crowd at some point has dispersed, but what a turnout for Karen Reed.
Well, yes, they have. They have dispersed. There are some people who have stayed behind, obviously exhilarated by the verdict of not guilty for Karen Reed. A lot of these folks have been outside of the courtroom every single day, not only for this trial, but for the first trial that ended in a mistrial. Now, you talk to these folks and they'll tell you they really felt like this was a frame job. They felt like there was corruption involved at the highest level here in Canton, Massachusetts, but it extended beyond the local area. There are people here from New Jersey, Connecticut, Texas, North Carolina, who felt like this impacted them as well. And as Martha McCallum said last hour, a lot of that had to do with the work that Karen Reed did herself. There was that documentary last year that published on HBO Max that got a lot of attention nationally, and she has been working this very media savvy. And in the end, though, she did get the not guilty verdict. We spoke to the people out here, and this is what they said about their motivation and their reaction to the not guilty verdict for Karen Reed.
It's about the right thing. It's about the right thing to do, and the right thing to do is to stand up for the truth. We've known the truth for years now, and we don't even know how this case has gone to trial.
Explain the meaning of this sign and why you felt so important to hold it today.
Well, I think it's important because I think that not enough people here are remembering who the real victim is. I think Karen is a victim in a different sense. I'm happy that the turnout was what it was, but I think that now we need to find answers for John.
I wanted to be here because I truly believe that she was framed, and I look at it and I'm like, this could be anybody. This could be anybody being framed, and I would want the support.
Again, so Karen Reed found not guilty of second-degree murder, of manslaughter, and of leaving an accident with a fatality. And so now she does have to serve 1 year of probation for a DUI. Now, John O'Keefe's family, we haven't received a statement from them just yet, but witnesses that were called in by the prosecution, they have released a statement. And in part, they say, while we may have more to say in the future today, we mourn with John O'Keefe's family and lament the cruel reality that this prosecution was infected by lies and conspiracy theories spread by Karen Reed, her defense team, and some in the media. The result is a devastating miscarriage of justice. Bottom line, Will, is that this all came down to reasonable doubt. The defense said that Karen Reed did not hit John O'Keefe with that vehicle and, in fact, was framed. They said that he was actually beaten up in a home owned by a former police officer and was left in the snow by them. And ultimately, this jury seemingly couldn't find enough evidence to find that he was hit by this vehicle driven by Karen Reed. And so now for the O'Keefe family, they now go the civil route. They have filed a civil case, and that will now make its way through the civil courts against Karen Reed. So this isn't over for Karen, at least on the civil side, as the family tries to continue to seek justice, which as of now looks like that suit is still going on. Will?
All right. What a scene inside and outside the courthouse. Thank you, Brian.
What a scene, man. Y'all hear about that shit? You know, the Karen Reed story. It's made its rounds in the media, whatever. He had a boyfriend, and she ends up running him over, I guess. You know, and the family retries her. Like, I mean, damn. What's really going on? So according to them, when a second Karen Reed juror has come forward after arriving at a not guilty verdict on most of the charges she faced in the death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Okay. What the fuck, man? I mean, it could just be bad police work. But if anyone has done their job correctly, we wouldn't be in this position. Paula Prado, who was juror number 11, which told the newscast or news organization she was working with, it would either be proved or disproved right away. Yep. Another one of the 12 jurors explained the panel's reasoning that past time when the fucking verdict came down, a day after her second trial came to a close. He also explained brief confusion Wednesday afternoon that arose out of a verdict that jurors later retracted before it was read in court. Judge Beverly Cannon it sealed that one. Within minutes, jurors had a verdict for real. Everything on that initial slip was the same as the slip that was presented. Juror number 4, identified only as Jason, telling TMZ. He said they pulled the first slip back over the OUI charge, operating under the influence of liquor, which jurors found her guilty. Damn. So the murder case verdict reached after deadlocked first trial. Okay. So the first trial, it was deadlocked, and then it was tried again, and there was finally a verdict. You know, she was found not guilty and whatnot. This bitch, right? You see that? You see that shit? All right, so let me keep going on. In our deliberations, we had decided there was enough evidence and proof that she was driving under the influence, he said. Hanon ordered that jurors' names remain sealed for 10 days. But she said individual jurors could come forward on their own if they wanted. Yeah. They probably already did by now. You know, I might have to check into this again in another bucket, but there this is. So jurors found Reed not guilty of murder, manslaughter, and fleeing a deadly accident in a trial that stretched on for more than 30 days of testimony and 4 days of deliberations. 4 days? What the fuck? The lesser included charge of OUI is the Massachusetts term for drunken driving. I don't know what happened to John, Jason said. I was only presented a limited scope of what happened at the night, and I can only base my opinion off of the evidence that was shown in the courtroom, so I really don't know if there was a cover-up or not. Okay, so you're looking at somebody that got free. Now, okay, let me see here. Someone goes on to say, I know that's the big conspiracy around it, but I really don't know. All I know that there was a lot of holes in the investigation. Whether they were deliberate holes or not deliberate holes is kind of hard for me sitting back to know that. You know, what actually happened? He said the defense claimed that O'Keefe could have been killed by someone in the house, and an attack that involved a dog was an example of reasonable doubt. We were tasked with deciding this person's fate based on the proof of evidence that the Commonwealth was able to present, and there was a lot of holes, he said. He said another important factor for the jury was video that showed Reed's taillight. We could see from the car after the alleged incident happened when we could see the taillight was lit up red where it shouldn't have been red, where it shouldn't just have been red. I don't believe that the SUV collided with John O'Keefe. Still, he added, there was no way for jurors to know whether claims of a corrupt police investigation were true. I don't know that there was any corruption going on, he said, but I do know that there wasn't enough proof of evidence secured by the police to convict Karen Reed. Absolutely. Also Thursday, Massachusetts State Police brass broke their silence on the years-long case marred by investigative missteps and the firing of a state trooper who played a central role in the case. Reed was accused and acquitted of killing her boyfriend by slamming an SUV into him and leaving him to die on the ground during a blizzard after a drunken argument. Jurors found her guilty only of drunken driving, for which she received a sentence of 1 year probation and outpatient treatment. Jeffrey Noble, the Commissioner Jeffrey Noble of the state police, said the entire department sends its condolences to O'Keefe's family. The events of the last 3 years have challenged our department to thoroughly review our actions and take concrete steps to deliver an advanced investigative training, ensure appropriate oversight, and enhance accountability, Noble had said in a statement. Under my direction as colonel, the state police has and will continue to improve in these regards. He said the goal is to deliver excellent service and maintain public trust. For those that are not, that got this on audio only, I'm looking at a picture right now of the accused that was later acquitted and the boyfriend that she allegedly killed. Now, more and more and more evidence is going to come from that. And get this, man, in the bucket, bro, usually I just get into a conclusion of sorts. And then, I just use my judgment and go all the way and all out. If the shit is about, if the shit is anti-male, anti-Y chromosome. But there's a lot of moving parts in this. And it'll come back up in future buckets. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about what happened, what's wrong. I mean, this is one of those situations, one of those cases, if you will, that I can't really just land on it, a lot of things that happen within this. And this is one of those things where you would probably have to wait a good 5 to 25 maybe in years to get at least 90% of what was going on in this, because of the weather that was happening and all of that. Turn off your perceptions, basically. Turn off your perceptions. Look at this case objectively. And when I say objectively, this is not, it's red pill. This MGTOW out for life, motherfucker. We gonna have to get to the bottom of this gynocentric fuckery going on. Yeah, man. No, dude. This is not one of those. This is one of those wait and see, the eternal shall see type of a thing here going on. So, man, keep your eye on this. Those that do know what's going on, I'll look at your comments, bro. But at the end of the damn day, once more and more evidence comes after this, so that we would see more or less a how would you put this? A potable version of this a situation of these two trials and of what had happened. All right. Some say that there is, police speaking out about what had happened because one of their very own got killed, man. And then you got other kinds of things going on happening with this. The lady could be on some bullshit. She could be on some anti-male. I'm gonna take you off the face of this earth type of shit. That part I don't know. So I'm gonna have to be honest with you, man. Even though they had 2 court proceedings based on this. This is one of those things where Soap can't call it yet. Can't call it. I mean, everybody, hates looking at an inconclusive result, and right off the bat, you would like to automatically try it again to see whether or not this thing is legit, because an inconclusive result demands retrying, demands pressing the reset button, if you will, and get it started back again to see what you had missed. Because there's only few happenings, only few situations, or that were leading up to the so-called action that took the life of this officer, And as this goes along, the only thing that I can think of right now at this point, it's not every day that I get situations like this, but the one thing that I could probably conclude at this point is that either the either the law enforcement community or the police department responsible for this going on has another side to this, or are they the bad guys and they're putting in evidence? It's probably, for us that are going our own way, for those that did take the pill of truth, this is probably something that is really kind of rare in our world, you know? So look at the facts, evidence as there were, circumstantial or otherwise. Look at this shit and pretty much see where it would take you. Oh man, this one right here kind of had this one was one of those head scratchers, but I don't want to lean one way or the other yet until we get some type of a conclusion that would make sense. Usually it does. More often than not, takes time for something like this to already be out and about, fully documented. And, point 1, point 2, point 3. Point 4 was missing, point 5, point 6. And then a few years, maybe a decade or two later, that one thing that was inconclusive, that was missing, finally comes up. And it lets us know what actually happened. All right. Let me see what's going on here in the comments, y'all. All right. I'm in Cali, home of the Karen training camp, says Tamar. Oh, man. What's that? Hell if I know, man. All right. Let me say, Cali also has the BMW School of Asshole Driving. Wow. Hey, honestly, I would like to know what the fuck that is about, dude. All right. Now, it here in Cali, you gotta surf between the turds. You know what? I don't discredit that. I mean, especially if you're surfing in the Bay Area. That is wild, bro. All right. I'll say a brown man with a spray tan. Yeah, power of this, power of that. They got to shake for 100 miles. Well, yeah, they got ugly chicks everywhere there, Timmy. Yeah. And Tom say they always lose the civil case because the lawyers get a cut of the money. Whether she did it or not, cough up that money. What the fuck? Wow. Timmy say PMSing is a legal defense. Yeah. And in some states, postpartum is. Yeah. The pretty privilege situation. There's some of that too. I'm too pretty to go to prison, boy. No. Ooh. What the fuck? Stop that shit. Yeah. She's supposed to say, I remember the woman that murdered her man and escaped conviction by a judge because her defense was being high off weed. Case dismissed. Man, whoa. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Switch the genders, and I'm not talking about transition month. Switch the genders. The straight fella would be under the jail. No. You could put him under the jail. Fuck all that. You could put that guy right under the jail. Never talk to him ever again. This is dumb. All right. They say BMW is the ultimate driving experience. If you don't know, now you know. No, but you say, if you know, you know. Oh, man. Insane type shit. Y'all want to just get on the map, just talk about different shit? Cool. Fuck it. Just put that, just slam the map on the wall and put a few holes in them. Just get them Swiss cheesed up. Just. Hey, dude, speaking of, Swiss cheesed up and all of that stupid, crazy, stupid dude, pee stuff. Might as well talk about, what's been going on lately with the looming and some of the foreboding too, coming from this Iran Israel conflict. It's insane. Now, I might as well just see what's going on with this, but when I seen this article, now tell me if maybe I'm off base, maybe I'm off the mark with this, not accurate at all. Um, if you say that I'm just going off of speculation, do tell me so, man. This is one of them. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I won't even, you shut. No, you shut. I do what I want. Nah, I ain't gonna do nothing like that, man. Because these are one of those cases or whatever, in which I would like to just, you know, get to the heart of the matter on it, or to the bottom of it, because somehow something wasn't even right. The way that they had this set up, and here's that right there, operative phrase. The way that they had the guy set up. Nah, you don't want to be that guy, but I thought the Beltway was done with the pizza shit. Like, what the fuck? You would think, there have been story after story, hell, even conspiracy after conspiracy, relating to the Italian entree, right? And kind of like refer to the government or link it to the government or whatever. It says here, man. Oh gosh, Pentagon Pizza Index. What was that? There was an index on this? People are betting on this shit, man. They're betting on this? That 5-letter word, and they're making it to where, and you know what? It kind of makes sense. And, when it, gives a few knocks on the door of the noggin, like, like, okay. But what, well, okay, maybe I was taught to understand this, or I can't necessarily say I've learned it or nothing, but when you put together a government agency, government entity, and you mix the word pizza with it, something ain't right, man. Again, we can only speculate here in the bucket. We can only speculate. All of that shit going on. But look at fact by fact as it is presented, and when it does happen, I mean, hey, you're on this journey with me. Shit. The theory that surging pizza orders signal global crises. Now, a spike in Pentagon area pizza deliveries is gaining attention as a surprising predictor of major geopolitical events and military activity. Right? Now, a different kind of pie chart. Oh, I get it. Different kind of pie chart. Yeah. It's being used to predict global crises. A surge in takeout deliveries to the Pentagon, now dubbed the Pentagon Pizza Index, has emerged as an unexpectedly accurate predictor of major geopolitical events. Tracking activity at local pizza joints in Arlington County, and the X account Pentagon Pizza report noted an uptick in Google Maps activity from 4 pizza places near the Pentagon on June 12th. We, the Pizza, District Pizza Palace, Domino's, and Extreme Pizza all reportedly saw higher than usual order volumes around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, according to one of these social media posts, this looks like it's coming from X/Twitter. Okay, as of 6:59 p.m. Eastern Time, nearly all pizza establishments nearby the Pentagon have experienced a huge surge in activity. The timing? Just hours before news broke of Israel's major attack on Iran. So Israel's major attack on Iran, whatever. And I'm looking at, because when you have a location that has any type of operating hours, and you look at those operating hours and you start seeing activity as to how it works. Hell, I even applied it to some of the places I had worked. This provides you some sort of an open source intelligence. Because this could be available to anybody and not even the government, and still catch a motherfucker slipping off of it. But let me keep going on. The United States announced it was not involved in the attacks. Oh shit! Yeah, you did. That's your girlfriend going crazy on somebody that you didn't want to have a problem with. But you know what? You always had a problem with Iran, Washington. You always had a problem with Tehran. You always had a problem with that chick, that Middle Eastern chick, right? And Little Miss Tel Aviv and Little Miss Middle Ground Fake Connect Dash Jerusalem want to talk they shit about what's going on. Every time I look at this story when it comes to Iran and Israel, it's like this, man. Why in the fuck do you want to put us in a situation like Armageddon today? Even more, I want to think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, no disrespect to those that worship in the Abrahamic faiths, whether they be Islam, Christianity, or Judaism, in the way they do their thing. That's your spirituality. And that's one of the many freedoms that is covered under the First Amendment. Under the First Amendment, you got to protect it with the Second if you're here in America. And I mean that. But anyway, back to this shit. Now, Marco Rubio was saying shit like this. We're not involved in strikes against Iran. Dude, you're no different than lying fucking Ted Cruz. Just because you're from Florida, bro, don't mean that, you got the best interest at heart of everyone in the country. No matter what state you're in, no matter which one of the 50 locations you could put it, state capitals or whatever the fuck, you know, you're still in it with all of us. It's kind of funny how people, tend to want to hold on and grab onto the shirt of American sovereignty, when it's convenient for them. The left does it, the left does it when it comes to First Amendment protections. Yeah, that side was big on it, dare I say, in the late 90s and early aughts. But now you could say the same thing with right wingers. You could say the same thing with conservatives over there trad cucking it and preserving the status quo or whatever the fuck they do. Doesn't matter. But back to the story, though. However, as the theory goes, the surge in traffic at local pizza joints close to government buildings may have signaled hungry military leadership hunkering down to monitor unfolding events, the kind of analytics we love. One user commented on X. Google Maps research beats some spy agencies around the world. You know what? That part's true. They ain't lying. When you want to know when a store is busy, you look at the hours of operation for whatever establishment it is. I do it. You do it. So what? This is some shit you need to know. Things that are on a need to know basis, right? But let me get back into this. The predictive power of pizza isn't a new theory. Alex Selby, the Economist's head of data journalism, wrote on LinkedIn. The Pentagon Pizza Index has been a surprisingly reliable predictor of seismic global events from coups to wars since the 1980s. What? Oh, okay. During the Cold War, Soviet operatives reportedly monitored pizza delivery activity in Washington, believing a sudden uptick in late night orders signaled military personnel working overtime. They even gave it a code name. Peasant? What the? Peasant? Pizza what the? Whoa. I had to sound it. I had to sound the alarm again. One more again. Peasant. Okay, there's geospatial intelligence. There's signals intelligence, anything that comes through the radio waves or TV waves or walkie-talkies and communication devices, all that. Then there's human. And this is what's used on a higher level between those that are actually in the shootouts, those that are getting into scuffs with those in foreign nations when it comes to this. Especially, you want to know how we do get into these wars, and you already know it's the spooks, baby. You know it's the spooks. Okay? But these are, semi acronyms as to what they're doing. I mean, just like what I was saying to you earlier. OSINT, OSINT. That's open source intelligence. Intelligence that's free to you. And get this can go under any level. Any level. This is on facts. This is on shit that's already out that people would do. that a motherfucker would do out there. And you got the dirt, you got that shit from out here. You know, right out here. Wasn't hard to find. You didn't get to pay for it. You actually look at the mainstream media. This is one example. You actually see it on videos and through observable reality, really. Observable reality and provable, documented fact. Yeah, let's go on and see what this is. Timmer! Say, you need 20 hours of asshole driving before you can take discovery of a new BMW. Yo, you know what? Kind of makes sense, bro. Kind of makes sense on that Karen Reed thing, man. This is one of those things that you might want to review more than 3 times. You know? Because you don't want to be the guy that gets the wrong set of information. Or if so-called propaganda gets sent your way. You don't really want to do that. Because if it's found out that you relied on that shit and you were exposed for relying on it and it doesn't, it really didn't happen, man. Ooh, shit be happening, bro. You would look like you got egg on your face, right? But yeah, asshole driving. If you get into spook training or intelligence training, there's some shit where you drive really fucking well based, looking kind of like that one movie where the kid was, was the getaway driver. He was the dopest getaway driver ever, and nobody could fuck with him, and things happen. But let me keep going. RC say, oh man, 2.0? 2.0? This is what it is? This is the gate? This is the gate of like the moon hit your eye like a hooked pizza pie. That's a more shit like that, man, right? Hey, I don't know what the fuck it is. CNN's then Pentagon correspondent Wolf Blitzer. And that's another thing about Wolf Blitzer. You know what I'm saying? He does hang out in spook societies and shit. I don't know the information of this shit. And maybe in a bucket, we can get that pretty much uncovered and see what it really is. I thought it was Scotch and volume. I don't know what happened. I don't know what that means, Timmy. I don't mean to do you like that, bro. I don't mean to say it like that, but I don't know what that means when it comes to the Karen Reed thing. I don't know what it means. Maybe I'm going to get to know what it means, and then in the show or two, and when I find out, let me find out that your motherfucking ass ran over your boyfriend and you used the blizzard storm to do it, bitch, it's over. Let a motherfucker find out. Right? All right, let me see. Timothy Sokol says, the Pentagon has pro chefs. I'm going with the Scotch. And hey, man, I don't know. I don't know how that went, bro. Y'all must have the classified foul. Yeah, y'all must have the classified shit. I don't have that shit yet. Yo, y'all might want to deliver this shit to Soap. You know what I'm saying? Deliver it. Come on, dude. Y'all got all the information. I don't want to fuck with these mainstream motherfuckers no longer. I mean, some of you fellas, brothers, if you got some shit out here, if you got some, negatable fact, some shit way beyond circumstantial evidence, and it points to these motherfuckers, woo, it'll be on. Ooh, we're gonna be to get you. Yeah. All right. But here we go. Anyway, the Pentagon has failed so many audits. It's amazing. The greatest laundering site on the planet. Yo, You're not entirely wrong, man. You're not entirely wrong. Especially, y'all hear about that shit where 16 billion logons have been leaked. That's just 2.1 of our population, world population. Imagine that many people with accounts like that online, and for that to be leaked. That's some bullshit. Are you serious, man? Wow. So, yeah, this Pentagon type shit. Now, Wolf Blister said this shit back in 1990. I don't get this. And he's talking about always monitor the pizzas. Monitor the pizzas, sir. The article goes on to say, of course, a correlation between pizza delivery and global crises is not a verified method of tracking world events. Unless this shit is probably put on a Vegas spread, betting lines. I don't know. In a statement to Newsweek, the Pentagon dismissed the theory, noting they have plenty of pizza options inside of the building, along with sushi, sandwiches, and donuts. They also disputed the timeline suggested by the Pentagon pizza report, saying it did not align with the events, man. Still, if you notice a spike in pizza orders near the Pentagon, it might be worth keeping an eye on the news. What the fuck do you mean by that, man? What the fuck you mean by that? So, I'm supposed to take the publicly released activity between those that work in the giant anus that they call the Pentagon as to whether or not they're pulling all-nighters and working overtime on a situation that's going on in the Middle East. Because, they're trying to spruce up, shine up another coat of paint for you to go to a new war, I guess. I don't know. And it's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. Let me get into something else that's also strange. And this has more to do what's going on with that Israel / Iran or Iran / Israel conflicting thing. The conflicting thing. The fucking war thing. You know what I mean? It's all dumb, but, I have a feeling that a lot of my future buckets, they're going to talk about this shit, man. Yeah, they're going to talk about this shit. I'm pretty sure they will. I mean, listen close. Make sure we don't miss a thing, I guess. And if you're still here, you better go get some homies. You get homies to watch the show. Hey, get the homies. Share the show. Or I'm gonna be to get you. So gonna be to get you. Ooh, you know this shit. Let me see what's going on. Somebody say, I know politicians are some of the most stoner folks. They can afford the expensive shit. Yeah. Because we were always looking at, books, movies, TV shows based on their college lives. Loosely based on their college lives. But here's the thing. It's not really something that you could use as definitive proof in stomping them down. Because In the court of public opinion, optics matter. In the court of law, it's something totally different. The optics matter, but you got to document the optics in the form of video. So that can kind of make sense. It kind of looks like how you would look at, let's say, a reviewed football play. A reviewed football play in the NFL, right? If you've seen somebody receptor a pass or catch a pass, whatnot, it's a touchdown pass, mind you, but didn't both feet hit within the goal? Did both feet hit within the goal? You know what I'm saying? And if he's down by contact, if he is on his elbows or knees on the ground, on the turf or whatever, that is where, you look at, is he down by contact? That's one of those things. And down by contact means if your elbows, knees, or both hit the ground or turf or floor, right? Then that means, he's down. He's down in college, in high school. But if he's down by contact, the person has to tag him. This is why when you used to watch football games and, it was a it was a kickoff or a punt kick or some shit for the opposition, that team's opposition, to run the ball. And he's got the ball, right? And that guy is not down by contact unless he lowers a knee onto the turf or an elbow to the turf. But someone from the opposite team, the opposition, has the ops, got to touch your shoulder or touch any part of your person to show everyone that this guy is down by contact. Now, keep in mind, in college football, they don't have that. Okay, I went way off on a tangent. Let me look at the comments. Timmy, say, did they find Hunter's bag in the White House? Hell yeah, they did. Come on, man. Okay, I've had a lot of Psychesoap intros showing Hunter Biden's activity. But you know what? Is there any video out there, any, what the fuck so ever, that shows Hunter Biden with a motherfucking baggie or a pack, doesn't matter, sitting up in the White House, and he's just tooting all sorts of fabulous, doing his thing? His daddy got this, so, what I'm saying, I'm gonna have me a little, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have your little nose candy in the White House, right? White lines, White House. Stupid shit, right? So, Timmy say, that's the secretaries and staff ordering the pizza. Politicians eat lobster, 7 caviar. You know what? That does make sense. Because those that work in the Pentagon are usually seen as the top 3 of all. I mean, the top 3, the top 3 companies, regiments, Corps, Army, and whatnot in our entire country and government. And that's all at the Pentagon. At the Pentagon. Pentagon folk, Langley Falls Church folk, those that are in special forces, Rangers, tabbed and bannered, shit like that. All right. Let me get out of this. Ability. Woo-hoo! All right, let me get into this one thing. I'm gonna play that. See if y'all with it. You know, and that was kind of strange with the pizza index, the pizza ordering index. So what they're saying is that the Pentagon loves to have all-nighters when it comes to something that they think is threatening the planet. So that's probably why they were looking at the orders of pizza. Maybe that shit was happening back in GWAT, the war on terror, all that shit, you know, when we're going into Iraq and Afghanistan. Maybe that was what they was looking at and basing it on something different. All right. So I'll go ahead and show you a little something that's going on with this. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll put up Pete Pixis. You know what I'm saying? No, Pete Hegseth. I mean, dude's okay. He's okay. You know, he's one of those smooth operator. Where is my smooth operator? Yeah. No, we're going to go ahead and play this and see what it is that's going on with him, because right now, we're looking at something that could be a proxy to World War III. We could be looking at a second Cold War. You never know. Maybe a second Civil War shit. You know what I'm saying? Happening here in America. And you're seeing these conditions. And these are crucibles to forge us into men, if you really look at it. Okay, let me shut up. Let me play this shit. I've been on a tangent too long enough. And listen to the man talk about this shit, right?
Yeah. And the American people elected him to make these decisions on their behalf. And if and when those decisions are made, the department is prepared to execute.
That hearing continues on the Hill. We're watching for headlines. Meanwhile, with me now, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, former National Security Advisor to President Trump. It's great to have you back, sir. Nice to see you, and thanks for coming in. Let's talk about Trump's...
Hey, great to be with you, Bill.
Let's talk about Trump's calculation. You get involved, right? Maybe you wipe out the nuclear program. And maybe you also risk a war that goes sideways in a lot of ways that people can't predict. How do you measure that decision now, sir?
Well, I think what you have to do is think ahead. Think ahead of strikes to understand, what are the second and third order effects. And but I'll tell you, Bill, Iran is in a position of profound weakness. I mean, what Israel's done to them, I mean, it's just astounding to me. I mean, I knew that they were capable, but they've taken out the whole nuclear supply chain. There's still these deep buried sites, as you alluded to, at Fedor and one other deep buried site as well. They've taken out the missiles, a lot of their missile capability, the missile supply chain, military leadership. I mean, Bill, they took out the head of their armed forces, the RGC and the Army, and then 3 days later they took out the guy who took his job from him. Then you have them going after now the arms of repression. The Basij and the other brutal forces that repress the Iranian people, energy targets. There's just been a massive cyber attack on the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps' banking system. And then, the question is, do they go after leadership? Is this really a regime change type operation? And then you're into what you're alluding to, what happens next? What can Iran respond to at this moment? We know they still have some ballistic missiles that they're firing at civilian targets in Israel. We know that they could activate their militias. So the Iranian, proxy forces in Iraq and in Yemen have pledged that if the United States enters into this conflict, that they will attack U.S. interests in the region. But I'll tell you, Bill, I think they're kind of used up. I think they're in survival mode at this moment. So the question is, if the regime does collapse, and I think we should all hope for that, but that's ultimately up to the Iranian people, what happens? Is it fragmentation inside of Iran? Or could the Iranian people put together, some kind of transition to a regime, any kind of regime? But how about just a regime that ends its permanent hostility to Israel, the United States, they call the Great Satan, and their Arab neighbors and the world?
Mm-hmm. Well, you frame it well. You're dealing with a country with 90 million people. It's big. Yeah. You're dealing with a country that has ballistic missiles that eventually will run out. And that's got to be part of their calculation. In the past, they would just energize Hamas or energize Hezbollah, or now, as you mentioned, maybe the Houthis in Yemen. And they have stood pat for now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what decision the supreme leader makes here. And it's hard for me to know if he is eliminated, what comes after him. And so you've got, you will have an exceedingly unstable part of the world for at least a period of time that might be a substantial period of time. And you know they're gaming this out in the Situation Room, so I'll put you back in that room. What advice do you give the commander-in-chief?
Well, I think what you do is you lay out the options, Bill. You lay out the options of the U.S. going in with different objectives, right? That could differentiate a couple courses of action. Is your objective getting rid of this theocratic dictatorship that has been waging essentially a proxy war against us for 45 years? You know.
Oh, come on, dude. Come on. You know, you were put here, McMaster. You were put here to be the guy to lead us into this current installment of Armageddon, leading to Revelations, leading to the actual World War III. This is only the right-wing version of it. We've seen the left-wing version of it. 2 fucking wings of the same fucking bird. Come on, bro. You seen that little Iron Dome shit that Israel was trying to put up, and then you think that these things would be able to catch hypersonics? Fuck no. They was dropping one on top of the other on top of the other. You know, some of them gotten fucking you know, some areas in some of those, you know, missiles had gotten knocked out, but a great deal of them that did fall was destroying the area. Shit. Had people looking like, all right, funky, fresh, Craig Finesse in the fat, baby. Like, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, but this one shit, man, having to do with, this takes me back to the World War III episode when Poopy Pants was in office. The fix is in. All of those weak-ass Democrat motherfuckers that were in knew that they can try to, you know, poke bears long enough, be it in West Bank, be it in Gaza, be it in Ukraine, to get you to move. Because when y'all are in office, you know what's really fucked up, guys? When a Republican is in office, it's time to go to war. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go to war. And they probably mastered this. It's kind of like that chick that instigates all sorts of shit around you, that Karen or that Keisha that gets you into some shit, puts a battery on your back. Yeah, that's what's going on here, man. All right, let's see what's going on. Oh boy. But yeah, I was seeing those missiles going on into, you know, Israeli territories, areas, parts of the Israeli state. And then they sent out like Iron Dome .5, in which they had, you know, guided missiles to knock out the hypersonics. You're shooting a bullet with another bullet, fam. What are you doing? All right, but you don't hear soap, though. Hey, you shot. I do what I want. And you know what? Some of that shit will be shown on the things that make you go, damn! By Psychesoap. And David say, get rid of Israel and Iran wouldn't have a problem. Well, you got a point there. Because really the only check, the only how you doing is in Israel. And this country, UK, hell, even to some extent, ancient Rome. We're holding it down for Israel, but and I don't mean to put this to those that are of an Abrahamic faith or those that are culturally Jewish, as they call it, or anybody that's kind of watching this shit. But you know, you're outnumbered. They only gave you this sliver of land after World War II. But there have been decades, centuries, millennia. But everybody want to bring it back. For the Bible told me so. What the fuck, man? Alright. Play me. Hey, I ain't gonna play your game for you. Let me play this shit. Get this over with. All right.
You know, and against Israel, and as you mentioned, the dynamics are fundamentally different thanks to the aggressive action by Israel to destroy and defeat, you know, the forces that surrounded them with this ring of fire. We're talking, of course, about Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and especially Hezbollah. The effects of that cascaded into Syria. So there's a period of an opportunity. But you have to ask the president first, hey, Mr. President, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to achieve the dismantlement of their nuclear and missile programs? Is that the objective, or do you want this regime to be gone based on what it's been doing? You know,
because they were down in a burning ring of fire, and down, burning with flame, burning ring of fire, a ring of fire, a ring of fire.
Against Israel and its Arab neighbors.
What the fuck,
so
man?
long. And then, of course, you always want to think through, Bill, whatever you do, you know, what are the second and third order effects? And then how do you mitigate the potentially negative circumstances?
100%. Let me squeeze this
and you
one
already
in.
see some of this happening.
And,
you know,
and the 30 seconds I have left, I could talk to you forever, and I've known you for some time. Maybe you don't need to do anything. Maybe you just sit by and allow Israel to control the situation. Because so far, with the exception of those who have been killed in Israel on behalf of the ballistic missiles, Iran has been neutered. Last comment. I got to go. Thank you.
Whoa. Before you even say that, bruh, do you know about BRICS nations? They have been forming over the past, generation? Half a century? You know? I mean, this came from the remnants of the Warsaw Pact nations. The Second World, as we used to call it. Remember that? Remember that? Yeah, I know. But, for them to, you know, look at it this way. I think this is the proxy war of all proxy wars. You might get to see, fellas, one of those wars where I don't think our country is going to send flesh and blood, special forces or snipers or anything into this proxy war. You know what I mean? I think this would probably be the war to decide what the new age would be like. In a sense of this, all right, Western nations, what the intelligence community, or the IC as they call themselves, would see as the Five Eyes nations, you know, Zealand, New Zealand, there's Australia, as they call it, motherfucking the UK, you know what they consist of, Canada and the United States, right? Okay, you got that. And then you got an extended family. We could just call them NATO, right? But then you look at the other side, the ops, as they call them. As the Western world want to call it the ops, man, it's really not as simple as it was back in, I don't know, 20, no, not 20, because we're in 2025, but 1965? I don't know. Learn to stop worrying and love the bomb. Because if you remember correct, and I bring this up at every show where I do geopolitics, or where I would just kick it with some of the fellas and we would watch some of this shit going on. And, I would give my 2 cents on what the fuck it is, right? Yo, that's a proxy war. That's all I can see this to be. I mean, the test ground, you know how like Spain was the test battleground of World War II? You know how the Russo-Japanese War was the test battleground of World War I? Look, we have a long line of test grounds before we actually see a World War III. You're going to see the militaries of all state actors do something a little bit different from the norm. All right. You know what? As much as we like to prattle on, or as much as I like to prattle on about what was happening in, post Afghanistan, post GWAT, right? Global War on Terror, that a war like Ukraine, I haven't heard anything about any American soldiers that were there in all of media, really. Yeah. But the ones that were there were, parts of the intelligence community. Parts of, what they would like to call defense research. Why? Because in so-called defense research, this is where they're creating training grounds of different wars to come. Training situations. This is only one of those. Israel and Ukraine just so happen to be the ones of today. And there you are. All right. Well, let me get this rocking. All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I love what the president just said. I mean, I think he is just dead on in terms of, hey, they're a bully. They're not a bully anymore. I love when he said, Russia's trying to act like they could be the mediator. And his message was, hey, mediate yourself, Vladimir, in connection with Ukraine. So I'll tell you, I think the president is making really smart decisions. Staying out of it, at least initially, has been a smart decision. Maybe he'll change his mind. I think in the next week he likely will. But what this does is it puts him in a position to, as you're alluding to, try to shape the outcome, of this, and to try to get to. Can you imagine the Middle East without the Iranian regime that has been causing so much death, destruction, and hardship for their own people and the people of the region? So I think, that should be the ultimate goal, but we should recognize, hey, we don't control that outcome. We can influence it, right? But we don't have agency over that outcome.
So as we're talking, the Iranians say to the UN on X that they will not negotiate under duress, shall not accept peace under duress. So that is their firm position as of today. H.R. McMaster, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your analysis today. Thank you, sir.
Great to be with you, Bill.
Right,
thanks.
You too.
Crazy shit going on with this.
There's only one person that was elected president of the United States.
Yeah.
And the American people elected him to make these decisions on their behalf. And if and when those decisions are made, the department is prepared to execute.
Yeah, wild shit going on, man. Wild shit. Some people don't even, trust Hegseth. I was hoping for the guy to, somehow do something put a little bit more back into, put masculinity back into, our total institutions called the military, right? Right. But you know what? If I play that game, I'm doing no different than sending younger versions of us to wage war in our name and putting them in harm's way. See, we got a border to fucking worry about. I know you know. We got a border of some sorts to worry about. We already got problems on our doorstep, you know? Why you want to keep getting in this game with NATO? NATO should have lost its purpose way back in 91. Seriously. I saw that shit. Why are we still doing this? We're going to talk about Gorilla the Gorilla in this shit. Let me just get into the story, right? Army General Michael Eric Kurilla is no stranger. He's no stranger to conflict, especially in the Middle East. Oh, wow. 2 decades ago, as NLTC, he was at the front lines of combat fighting off insurgents in Mosul, Iraq. And this is G-Watch shit that I'm talking about, right? Now, while leading 1st Battalion, 24th Infantry Regiment, the battalion's mission was to conduct security patrols and coordinate offensive attacks against anti-Iraqi insurgents targeting Iraqi security forces and Iraqi police stations. Okay. So, anti-Iraqi insurgents. You could say that they were native forces going up against the newly American deputized duties, or what do you call that? Responsibilities given to those in Iraq, Iraqis given to those from this country, America. See, the sun never really, truly sets in the American empire. We have, and what I mean by we is in the country that we live in, and people that are doing this bullshit in our name, right? Having to, take over UK, take over British Empire, really. Because the British said, nah, man, we gonna shut up, man. Yeah, I know. I mean, this shit is going on. Let them have South Africa. Let them have India. Let them have what they're doing. Let them have their thing. But eventually, and slowly but surely, now that we got America fighting for us, they're gonna know what this is, man. Man, this is stupid, man. This is stupid, man. What the hell of a carnival this shit is, man? Let me get into the comments, whatever it is. Craig Finesse, Funky Fresh in the Flesh. What's happening? He says BRICS is just another tentacle of the WEF. And you know what? I'm starting to think you're not entirely wrong. They talked to Klaus Schwab. They was fucking with him back in the times of, that bug or whatever the fuck they call it. Xi Jinping talked to Klaus Schwab, Putin talked to him. Some elements here in this country have talked to them. The World Economic Forum. It's kind of crazy. I've never heard of this collective until I was like in college. About 9 years ago, about 10 years ago. You could say it like that. I guess. But yeah, I seen that shit. Plagues of locust drones. Now, if you look at some of the old In the Bucket episodes, I show them that locust drone hive. A lot of that shit would pretty much come from China. China isn't fucking around. A lot of that technology is there, and they do have cheap manufacturing. They're going to go through it and go after it. They've always had it. I mean, look, days of Silk Road, them motherfuckers had fireworks. They had gunpowder before we did. Dave Smith say, I highly doubt the rest of BRICS is just going to sit back and do nothing. Russia has its hands full with Ukraine, but China could be looking to make a move. Well, the move that Russia's making with Ukraine, that's wrapping up. That's wrapping up. But then again, when you look at what's happening with Iran and Israel, Israel and Iran, you start looking at this shit and you going, wait a minute, are they trying to stir the fucking pot? Really? Okay, whatever. But all areas we're trying to make a move. Oh, for those that are not in the know, B means Brazil. R means Russia. I means India. An ally of ours, right? Weird, isn't it? Talk about Karnevil. C. The C in BRICS would be shit. I knew what it was. No, it's not Cuba. It's not Canada. Oh, hell no. That can't be it. It would be something else, man. Anyway, the thing about this, man, is this C is China, by the way. Sorry about that. S would be South Africa, technically. And they say that alliance was, I think, loosely named by Goldman Sachs. I don't know. And now we're in this proxy war with tiny hats. Wow. No, we're not. Fuck that. We're looking like China, and I've been saying this for shows, many episodes for now, that here in America, we're looking like China did in World War II. We're looking like Russia did in World War I. You see what we're looking at? I mean, look, okay, this is why I say it. Because on one end, we're in a third Red Scare. That could tip us into our second Civil War. Now, we look on the other end of this, and that's a third full-blown hot war. Right now, the proxies could be Israel and Iraq. Two great, two great proxies, if you will. When it says he highly doubts that the rest of BRICS is just going to sit back and do nothing. Russia has its hands full with Ukraine, but China could be looking to make a move. Well, true. That makes a lot of sense to me. However, Russia could end this at any time. I think they're sending in like a treat, a bait and switch or whatever to Trump. And he gonna go for that shit. Why? For the Bible told me so. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong with that, really. Be a God-fearing man. I mean, hold on to your Abrahamic, Israeli faith, I guess. Wow. But the problem with this is that some of us are gonna have to sit on the sidelines and hope like fuck we don't look like Israel now. Do we got an Iron Dome? And even if we do, none of them motherfucking Iron Dome, whatever the fuck we got over our shit, is gonna stop some damn bomb from happening. Shit, are you crazy? You'd be stupid as fuck if you think that's gonna happen, bro. You'd be stupid. Stupid duty peepee. All right. Well, there's another situation that's going on. I'll get out of that and I'll get into my comments before I do, though. And there's been some fellas that have been coming in for a minute. Let me see what's going on. We read that. All right. Oh, shit! Know who's here. Oh, isn't that nice? What up, dude? Hey, news here, man. The news. What news here? No, okay. That don't make no sense. But what makes sense is, bro, don't fall for it. Israel isn't fully on your side. Iran isn't fully on your side either, man. Iran, Israel, whatever the fuck. Israel, Iran, I don't know. They ain't on your side. Okay? They're on their own. And what's fucked up is that it is connected to government operatives that want to perpetuate some type of a war. War's a racket. It brings in good business. And in some strange and funny ways, it helps economies. Right? Yeah, man. Oh, shit. What's up, Win? How you doing? The Crown wants her colony back? You better debt that shit. Well, shit. Airstrip 1, a.k.a. England, isn't getting shit back. You know what I'm saying? All they did was rent it to America to the point to where America bought that contract. It took that shit from them. They're like, nah, this our shit. You can't have this shit. You know what I'm saying? We bailed your ass twice. 2 world wars. You wanted to be a third one? You shut the fuck up. You don't want me to put your motherfucking your youngins to fight in this front line and create a whole new generation that want to do it. Ooh. All right. Abe Shinzo was opposed to the WAF. Well, yeah, he was. But there was some, newbies that want to keep it all the way funky on some, the future is female type shit. Girl bossing it up and putting all the woke up in the area. I don't know, man. All right, peace, Greg Finesse, and shit. What's happening? What's happening? Aussie. Let me get into this shit though. This is kind of strange because we had talked about this about a couple of shows back, and it was something about Pope Leo. And Pope Leo is the first pontiff to ever serve in the Vatican from America. Yeah, from Chicago to be a Chirac Pope. All right, let me see what's going on here. Let me see.
Back here at home, excitement is growing in Chicago, where Pope Leo will be delivering a message to his beloved hometown later today. The Pope is set to deliver a video message to everybody there at Rate Field, the home of the Chicago White Sox. That, of course, is his favorite team. Sorry, Cubs fans. Earlier this week, the pontiff was seen wearing the team's cap in St. Peter's Square. It's worth noting the Chi Sox are 24 games below 500 right now. They are last in the AL, so they need all the Pope's prayers, hoping he can help.
I know you are not up here talking about my White Sox like that.
Yes, I'm a North Side Pope fan. You know the deal.
I
hear you.
Hey, you know what? Yo, I'm not even going to front because I lived in the Chi real quick, right? And you know, and I've said this in a few shows as well, too. I lived in North Chi, but I was repping the Sox to the fullest, man. I'm not even front. My bad, Cubbies. My bad, Cubbies. I was feeling bad for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had our back and forths. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers would say about us. Cub fans would say about, the White Sox fans, hey, at least we didn't have to pull a scandal to win that shit. And have motherfuckers throw the fucking World Series. We didn't have nobody throw the series, right? But then we look at these Cubbies like, I know you ain't tripping, bruh. Y'all motherfuckers was fixing shit too. Motherfucker, we ain't stupid. We know what you was doing, Cubbies. Asterisk. Shit. We know what y'all doing. Yeah, so it was all fucked up. People wanted to beat me the fuck up or shoot up my house or some shit because I was a Sox fan. No, really. When I was in the Chi, it wasn't Chirac yet, This was a little bit, just a year before Floppy Ears, tall guy, the mascot of the Democrats. That's deported more than Trump could ever dream of, man. And he was there. And believe it or not, compared to how it's been in the past, 15 years? 15, right? A decade and a half? Chicago was actually chill. There was no issues. Even in the inner city. Even on the south side. It was actually chill. And I'm going to tell you why it was. Everybody was getting jailed left and right. There was a crackdown from hell during 9/11. I mean, look at the crime statistics across the board. Both sides of the aisle would agree with this. That the crime rate, tell me that the crime rate didn't go down globally. I mean, across the board in America when it came to Chicago. Chicago got hit with low rates. New York got hit with low rates. LA got hit with low rates. Notice how nobody really, you still seen some ignorant motherfuckers causing shit, right? But for some strange reason, it chilled out for a while. Because they didn't want to be terrorists, motherfucker. I mean, come on. All right. Chirac, Illinois. I don't know. That's what they're doing. Tim Ashay, I think the low rent folks are looking to move up and fight like big boys. Yeah, that was that one situation between, I don't know if it was P-Stone, I don't know if it was BD or GD, but they was fighting back on Trinidad. Yes, that was a little war happening. This was like last year, end of last year, beginning of last year, some shit like that. I don't know, man. It was kind of wild, man. All right, the new Pope gets the ew, hey, get that off here. No, we will not be talking about that. But yeah, the Sox ain't playing, man. Yeah, but I don't know. They might just throw that next fight. They might throw out their next elbow. I don't know. Who's this guy? Who's it? Brother! I'm your grandpa, brother. This guy, you know who that is. You're right. Fight for you, right? Isn't that cute? Hey, brother. There's about Hulk Hogan, man. Go Hokey. He's back on his shit. Hulk Hogan's representative has assured fans that there are no reasons to panic amid false reports that he might not make it. Might not make it after undergoing surgery last month, for real. In May, a spokesperson for the retired wrestling legend, 71 years old, wow, told TMZ that he had undergone a little fusion procedure on his neck. Oh shit, so he did the fusion dance on his neck? I don't know. Alright, let me stop. During the Wednesday live stream, YouTuber Bubba the Love Sponge, who the fuck is that? Bubba the Love Sponge claimed he had heard from reliable sources, as he puts it, that things were not looking good for Hogan. However, a representative for Hogan has debunked these claims, telling The Independent that the surgery had indeed been successful and there are no reasons to panic. He just needs, from time to time, a medical checkup, they were saying. All right. Now, there have been conflicting reports about what surgery he recently underwent, with one source claiming to U.S. Weekly that he was recovering from pretty serious heart surgery. What? Damn. Okay. His representative denied the reports, telling The Independent that Hogan doesn't have any heart problems and that the surgery was in fact on his neck to address long-standing issues he had had with his back. Over the years, Hogan has had a string of back injuries and hip and shoulder replacements. Okay. I've had 25 surgeries in the last 10 years. 10 of them were back surgeries, brother, he told Jake Paul on the Impulsive podcast in September 2024. I've had 10 back surgeries, both knees and hips replaced, soldiers, everything, brother. Okay, my bad. Okay, typo. I said shoulders when it should have been soldiers. Okay. All right. Hogan rose to fame during his time with the WWE, WWF at the time. He first entered the ring as a professional wrestler in 1977 before signing with WWE in 1983, where he went on to win 6 championships and was later inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice. In recent years, he's faced backlash for his outspoken support of President Donald Trump. And some of y'all remember the last, RNC, Republican National Convention, in which Hogan was there on the stage. While hosting an event in Ohio last August to promote his new beer brand, Hogan's doing beer? What the fuck? I didn't know that. Okay. Real American Beer, Hogan was filmed joking about body slamming former Vice President Kamala Harris. Isn't that a fucking typo or what? Okay, not only am I having typos, but this shit is having typos too. Kamala Harris. Yeah, brother. It's the Hulkster brother. And then when he got to make the new world order. Hey, let's be reasonable, brah. This is Hollywood Hogan, brother. Let me stop, man. Let's see what's going on with him. Oh, shit. Now, remember what he said about the black guys. But I remember what's his name? Not Stevie Ray, but Booker T from Harlem Heat, sucker, was saying about Hogan, and he didn't mean to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of fucked up. Well, let me check this out.
How Donald Trump, his family was compromised. When I look out there and I see Donald Trump I think about how his business was compromised. But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough.
And yeah, the world of the Hulkamania had to run wild, brother. What you gonna do when the 40-inch pythons go right through you, brother? Okay, that was kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I grew up on that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. You hit that like button, you bigger trash. Oh, that you bigger trash. You stop. You stop. You better. Hey. Check to see if you're still subscribed to the soap. Ooh. Or I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Hey, yo. Oh, man. So, yeah, man, that was kind of cool. But here's a few more news stories that fucked with me. And before we go, I'm going to get us into some good old-fashioned booger nose red pill big cat fuck baby. Yes. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be to do it. But, as you know, this holiday called Juneteenth, which was really celebrated really only in the South from Texas to maybe northern Florida, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, man, this is the bullshit I was hearing over the week. The NAACP announced that President Donald Trump is not invited to its natural convention. The national convention this year. The decision was made because the NAACP's opinion on Donald Trump's policies. NAACP President Derek Johnson accused the president of believing in a fascist playbook and attacking the nation's democracy and civil rights. I don't know, Johnson. I'm accusing your dumbass of believing in an even more fascist playbook and believing in the woke mob playbook and going out here starting CRT shit on the Rilla. Yo, stop that shit. Doesn't make no fucking sense. For 116 years, the NAACP has invited the sitting president of the United States to address the NAACP National Convention regardless of their political party, Johnson said in a statement. There's a rich history of both Republicans and Democrats attending our convention, from Harry Truman to Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and beyond. We're nonpartisan and always welcome those who believe in democracy and the Constitution. What the? Didn't you have Trump there in your first term? I don't know, but back to this Juneteenth shit. It's over because we at the 20, baby. Welcome to the carnival. Wow, it's going to be the carnival. This way, you will find the thrill of men and woo. Yeah. Everyone will go to the magic show. I'm gonna stop, man. But yeah, this is more on this Juneteenth shit. Some of y'all had carnivals in your little town celebrating it, you know. Or some of y'all just had, you know, summer festivities just for the fuck of it. Whether you live near Disneyland, Six Flags, or just in some regular town and you seen some carnies or whatever. But there's carnies in my town, and I know I ain't getting no sleep tonight. What the fuck? Here we go. We'll play you some of this shit.
Holiday in the U.S., but the history of that holiday goes back a long, long way, more than a century and a half, to 1863. That's when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved.
He signed the Emancipation Proclamation? The Emasculation Proclamation? Did he really do that? Ooh, Lincoln is the greatest. Boy, cool your heels. Calm the fuck down. But here it goes. I know y'all heard about this during the damn week. Shit.
Enslaved people in the Confederacy and signaling the coming end of slavery in the U.S. overall. But freedom was not instant for the millions of enslaved African Americans at that time. It took more than 2 years, in fact, after the signing for the news to slowly make its way all the way down to Galveston, Texas. And that date when it arrived, June 19th, 1865, Juneteenth. The annual celebration of that day in 1865 is the holiday we are marking today as a nation. And then, after more than 150 years of Juneteenth being celebrated, it was at last federally recognized. That was back in 2021. It's new, so let's talk about it. How it became a holiday, its significance. Clinton.
Why did it take Poopy Pants? Why did it take the Joe Biden, the Joseph Robinette Biden 4th annual puppet show for them to do it? Why couldn't Floppy Ears do it? That's what they're saying, dude. It makes no damn sense. You can't be proud to be an American? That's a problem. I bet you if they drop this off over in Iran, they'll know where our asses are American, ain't they? They gonna know that shit, ain't they? But they gonna defend their homeland to the fullest. So miss me with your bullshit. All right, keep playing it. Go ahead.
Smith of The Atlantic and the author of the best-selling book, How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America, joins us now to talk about it. He's also got an adaptation for young readers, which is out on September 30th. And as I mentioned, does his day-to-day work over at The Atlantic magazine. Clint, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a new holiday for a lot of Americans. It's only 4 or 5 years old. What's the significance of it getting this federal recognition, and how do you think it should be marked?
Yeah, it's incredibly important that the holiday's been sanctioned as a federal holiday. What it does is reflect the work and the advocacy of activists, and specifically Black activists in Texas, over the course of many, many generations who've been celebrating.
But why didn't Captain Deportation do it? What the fuck? Why did it have to take Biden? See, there are Black Americans voicing that sentiment. And I'm not the only one, bro. Come on, man. What the fuck? There can't be, dude. Like, okay, whatever.
Celebrating this holiday, who've been recognizing this holiday, and the fact that it is now a federal holiday and is more well known across the country and the world is an important thing. At the same time, Juneteenth has never needed to be federally sanctioned in order for it to be considered legitimate. Black people, Black Americans have been celebrating Juneteenth for generations, for decades, in their homes, in their basements, when it was not safe for them to come out, when it was not safe for them to celebrate outside because of fear of violent attacks or lynchings. And so it is important that it is a federal holiday and that we have to consider legitimate. Black people, Black Americans have been celebrating Juneteenth for generations, for decades, in their homes, in their basements, when it was not safe for them to come out.
In their homes and in their basements, when it wasn't safe to come out, when it came out with the Jim Crow laws. Hey, yo, where was this bullshit at with the first Black president, huh? Where was this shit at when Floppy Ears was on, huh? Where was this shit at in his second term? Like, he had a whole thing. You know what the first law Obama ever put on the books and signed, coming from Congress in the legislative process? Wow. It was a law to expand or expound upon a law that was already on the books, because you can't discriminate against a female That's a female. You can't discriminate against one of them to get equal pay. When it comes all the way down to this, they're the best earners. When the college requirement was in, and it's been in for shit, dare I say centuries. But they started looking at it differently when some virus with a numbered name comes out. And then all of a sudden you want to just drop the college requirement, huh? Where was all this damn string pulling? Now, I'm not talking to, I'm not talking to the right on this one. You know I'm talking to the left. You know it's really fucked up. I'm getting in more and more facts, more and more situations coming from some of the events that were the preludes to the first Civil War we've ever had. And I'm like, okay, John Brown was repping it better for this than some of us. How you doing? And I'm not going to forget some of the black folks that did fight on the side of the Confederacy. But, okay, one reason you could say, or an excuse, depending upon who you ask, is that the Confederates gave black folks a way to make a living, whereas the Northerners didn't. They kept the technology and the advancements of the Industrial Revolution in America to themselves. Unless you wanted to put the hardest blue-collar type of work ever in there. And then, when I heard what Lincoln was saying about that time, because, check it. And you see this in government even to this day. To this day! Right? All right. Okay. That, John Brown was a terrible businessman. He had a lot of failed businesses and all this shit. He had, he worked so hard. He got too busy, had way too many kids. You know what I'm saying? Damn near 20, bro. Like, what the fuck? And a few of them, excuse me, were with him during the Harper's Ferry Rebellion. Right? And the first person to die, to go away, wasn't even in John Brown's crew. Wasn't even there with him. Wasn't even on the side with him. Wasn't even in the regiment with him. Wasn't even in the army with him. This guy was operating a train. Free black man, might I add, right? And ended up, the killing shot came from John Brown's side. But he was more of an abolitionist than Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, and all others combined. See, this is what the left tells you. I heard about this shit when I was a kid in school, man. Are you fucking serious? And now all the facts come back. All of that come in. Now I see why guys, those that took the pill of truth and are going their own way, and they listen to this shit and they're going, something's missing in this. I don't know if you want to even talk about that. I don't even know if we should even take that side. But no matter what, take your own side, because neither side is fully for you. What the fuck? Right? Oh man, here we go.
And it was not safe for them to celebrate in outside because of fear of violent attacks or lynchings. And so it is important that it is a federal holiday and that we have the opportunity to commemorate it in a meaningful way. And also, what we know is that the whims of politics shift back and forth over time. And so we're now in a moment of backlash and retrenchment. And we don't know what the future of Juneteenth as a federal holiday would look like. But regardless of if it is sanctioned or not sanctioned, it is a moment to recognize and celebrate and commemorate this history.
You know, Clint, I think for many people.
Wait a minute. Where was this shit at then? Why didn't we hear this in the 90s? Fuck a dumb. Why didn't we hear this shit in the 60s? Well, I'm going to tell you why we didn't hear it. And when I say we, I mean, you know, Black Americans. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, damn. But don't get this all the way fucking twisted. Abraham Lincoln was not really and truly for us. He wasn't really and truly for the Confederates. He was barely even true to the damn Union. I mean, he would rather for the Union and what later became the Confederates to make it like it was about 5 years ago before he got in office, right? 1850 compromise, 10 years, 15 years in office ago, 15 years back. And y'all just try to live under it. Plessy Ferguson, okay, you're only live, so Plessy versus Ferguson, the separate but equal shit. The top of the hill before the Jim Crow snowball rolled down. I don't know, man. I mean, where was this shit at when Obama was in office? What would y'all would have thought? Oh, we couldn't do that because if we would have did that Juneteenth stuff while Obama was in there, he would have got killed. He would have got killed. And this was some stupid ass bullshit that I heard from leftists when he was in office.
No, steady, big fellow.
Okay. Let me stop.
Right? Slavery is a very difficult subject. You want to honor the reality of those experiences without othering someone. But why do you think it's important that we don't downplay the reality of this in our history as America?
Downplay?
Oh, it's profoundly important. America is a place that has provided unparalleled, unimaginable opportunities for millions of people across generations in ways that their own ancestors could have never imagined.
He's not wrong.
It has also done so at the direct expense of millions and millions of other people who have been intergenerationally subjugated and oppressed. And both of those things are the story of America. It's not one over here or one over there. You get to pick this one and not pick that one. You have to hold both of those realities alongside one another. And when we think about somebody like Thomas Jefferson, right, somebody we consider the intellectual founding father of this country, the third president of the United States, he is somebody who sort of embodies that cognitive dissonance. He is someone who at once wrote one of the most important documents in the history of the Western world and also enslaved over 600 people over the course of his lifetime, including 4 of his own children. He wrote in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal and wrote in Notes on the State of Virginia that Black people were inferior to whites in both endowments of body and mind. And so I say that because America has a history of complexity, of contradictions, of cognitive dissonance. And I think it's incredibly important for us.
And not to mention a lot of Dunning-Kruger effect going on. Not to mention a lot of Dunning-Kruger effect going on behind that. And this is on both sides. Because some of you niggas fuck it up for everybody, man. getting offended over stereotypes that are based in the truth. How dare you? Word to fuck, security word to fuck. Okay, right? All right. So back into this, man. What he's saying?
In the context of slavery, in the context of Jim Crow, in the context of how we treated immigrants, in the context of the LGBTQ movement, for us to hold all of the...
Whoa. Wait the fuck a minute. You want to extend this shit to wannabes? You want to extend this shit to them? The problem is they want to be like you. They use your life, your movement, your purpose, even now. Even the shit that we went through in the 90s, black folks, and they want to be like you. Now I see. Now I see what Chappelle was talking about when he did that stand-up special. Talking about, you know, the situations that he would run into with the LGBTQ BBQ movement or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Yo, if you're gonna do that, you gotta fight for it. And if you are fighting for it, look at those ones that you are trying to emulate and quit trying to hate on them. Because you're flattering us. Yes, us. Yeah. I know you in your little same-sex marriage partner, life partner feelings. But you can eat your own strap-ons, man. Shit. You didn't shed blood for this. You whined about it with your entitled ass mamas, man. Fuck out of here.
The contradictions of America's promise and America's reality alongside one another.
Well, Clint, you're touching on something so interesting and I think important because this is a new holiday. It raises a question of how white Americans should engage with it because, as you point out, you've got this history of slavery that benefited white America, but you also, with the Emancipation Proclamation, with the Civil War, with abolitionist movements that go all the way back to the founding of the country, you have a lot of white Americans who are on the side of what we all now recognize as the side of good and what always should have been. So how do white Americans engage with it? Do they engage with the sin, or do they also take pride in the abolition movement that was...
Both. You ain't got to ask him. You don't have to ask him. Because he's probably going to say all sorts of shit that is pro-bliggity and all this shit. But then he's going to give you a little taste of that one shit that they were talking about. The Quakers, the John Brown thing. The Harper's Ferry Rebellion. He'll talk about Nat Turner, though. But listen, check it out. Go ahead.
Was multiracial, but had a lot of white input.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important that, as I just alluded to, that we have a both and understanding of America. And so, as you said, it is true that there were white Americans who were the central force of continuing to perpetuate the violence and indignity of slavery. And it is also true that abolition was a multiracial movement. I think what we have to do is recognize that sometimes in the context of these conversations, it can be suggested that Lincoln or benevolent white abolitionists sort of granted freedom to Black Americans, that they sort of handed it to them as a benevolent gesture. And I think that we can at once recognize the ways in which white Americans worked alongside enslaved people and free Black people.
Wait a minute.
Pride in the abolition movement that was multiracial, but had a lot of white input.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important that, as I just alluded to, that we have a both and understanding of America. And so, as you said, it is true that there were white Americans who were the central force of continuing to perpetuate the violence and indignity of slavery. And it is also true that abolition was a multiracial movement. I think what we have to do is recognize that.
That's the John Brown thing. All right. I mean, to make it clear, that I'm pretty sure that is what he referred to. Ooh, what? You think Soap don't know? Come on, man.
Sometimes in the context of these conversations, it can be suggested that Lincoln or benevolent white abolitionists sort of granted freedom to Black Americans, that they sort of handed it to them as a benevolent gesture. And I think that we can at once recognize the ways in which white Americans worked alongside enslaved people and free Black people without suggesting that they somehow gave it to them. Because what's true is that Black people, they arrived on these shores 1619. Slavery didn't end until 1865, but from the moment the enslaved people arrived on these shores, they were fighting for freedom. They were fighting for emancipation. They were fighting for liberation.
400
And what that
years
also means is
from
that the
then
vast majority
on.
of people who
Yeah,
fought
we
for
know.
freedom never got a chance to experience it for themselves, but they fought for it anyway because they knew that someday someone would. And I think about how my life is only possible, how my children's life.
And even though there are lost, hidden histories and documentaries talking about what the fuck? Black Americans fighting on the side of the Confederate flag? And there were Native Americans, some Indians, okay? Indians, as they were called. They even call themselves that, okay? Just like we call ourselves Negro. When in actuality, it wasn't really meaning people, but property? I don't know. Anyway, you're pretty much referring to the skin. You're pretty much referring to this, that, and the third about it. Look, man. And I know that there are abolitionists, people that have fought and died with Blacks, knocking off racial issues and knocking off laws on the books that discriminated against them. I mean, the Freedom Riders. And that's another thing for the tiny hats to let sink in, I guess. It is what it is. So, I mean, look, Biden's puppet monsters didn't already put World War III and the fix they put in. So get your gold, get your beams, get your band-aids, get your bullets. There's going to be war. And there's going to be a lot of fog in this war. No matter what the color of the fog is. Since it's it's a woman's law to make a man happy, I guess. You might as well just get this Armageddon on. Fuck it. And eat it. Now, okay, there's something that I like to address from this guy. You probably ain't gonna like where I'm coming from on this take, Riggs, but I might as well just get it out the way and just hash it out with you, I guess. I don't know. Where's the Juneteenth for you Irish? Your Juneteenth happens in March, motherfucker. Even though corned beef and cabbage wasn't really, a cultural meal that you had. You were immigrants here in America. Yeah, you did your thing. And yeah, let's keep that all the way funky. Y'all were just, whack-a-mole bopped on the top of your head from the powers that be then. But all you had to do was get rid of your American accent. And you fit well in the private structure. You fit well in the power structure when you kept doing it. Look at the corrupt cities of Chicago, Boston, and many others. But yeah, you went through some shit, homie. But get you a proper little accent. Be cool. Make a few business deals. Get you a little Beanie Siegel out of it. Not Beanie Siegel, but Bugsy Siegel. Yeah. Some people were even trying to copy your names back then. Costello. To get your shit together. Yeah, y'all had to make some moves. I'm not even going to front, man. But those that came from that island, I mean, Hey, Riggs, you shut. You shut.
Now it's very big fellow.
Yeah. According to Riggs, and this is also documented fact, they were slaves too. Treated worse than blacks? Nah, bro, I don't think so. Just as bad as blacks. And valued monetarily way less than blacks. Love how mofos gloss over that. Okay, yeah, that did happen. You know? Because the power structure at that time when y'all did get here as immigrants, they realized that you had way more work ethic. Huh? Yeah, I know that. But then again, when they all started banding together, look at the Kings of New York. All right? Or the Gangs of New York, sorry. This was Scorsese movie, and it's talked about when they, when the Irish came from the potato famine, this, that, and the third, and they got all around the country, and as generations went on, see, y'all were the first in which, you put your second or your third or your fourth generation out, they start getting, American accents. You can't even tell. You can't even tell they were there from where they from. So, y'all were using something, and when I mean y'all, I mean you're Irish. Y'all were using something really slick. And then you started getting into the power structure. Yeah, modalities, all of them, you were getting into the mob too. Joe Kennedy. How you doing, bro? You cut your hair, you talk a little proper, then shit. You welcome right in, you in the group. We're not dumb from that, because some people gloss over that shit too. Yeah, you got the presidency, but you had to take a haircut to get it. Now, bro, I realize the plight of the Irish. Your Juneteenth is in March. Chill. You're good. Anybody that talked with a thick Irish accent like y'all, yeah, they was murking y'all. And I say, like, in the latter half of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th, that was fucked up. But when prohibition started happening, yeah, you had to grind, man. You had to get your gangster grind on, didn't you? And now you got two presidents that were Irish Catholic. So chill, bro. Chill. Now I know you went through some shit. That's some bullshit. The white slavery trade, nobody ever really talks about that. No one ever really talks about that. In between the last two shows, I've been looking at that. But the more that you get an American accent, and sometimes, it's really fucked up, the accent matters. They start sounding like Americans, you can't even tell. But, what's really fucked up, though, and we'll just go with that. Back in the mainland here in America, and they went through some shit, too. Their own problems. The Italians, right? Y'all started out working out really tough. It was coming from the fucking Great Depression, right? Toward the middle of it, you started chilling with people with your same skin tone with you. right? Yeah. And you started building cliques and gangs and mobs and crews, you know, companies, factories. It was no longer a problem, wasn't it? Miss me with that, bro. I saw that too. Shit. All you gotta do is have an American accent and you'll be cool. Cut your hair. Get a job. I know when you first began, there was an Irish need not apply. Timmy. Polish descent? Polish? Don't get me started on the Zionists in your country. 2 world wars. And then let some of y'all go back into the Holy Land. Calm down, bro. Be chill, bro. You're in America. You just like y'all know our history. You know, the daughters of the slave trade that fucking betrayed us. The fucking black on black crime that you see in hoods. Y'all got Polish on Polish crime. Y'all got Irish on Irish crime. I haven't forgot about Bulger. You know what I'm saying? I haven't forgot about the Zionists of Poland and Germany. Psychesoap. I haven't forgot about that. What the fuck? Come on, man. You're talking to soap. But here's the thing, though. Times pass by. You're in the 21st century. We're Americans. Why are people scared to be Americans these days? Proud to be an American. What did I do? I'm free. What's up with this shit, though? Hold up. Traitors to the flag. Traitors. Army of Northern Virginia traitors. You're traitors to the Union. Stop playing with me. You don't see... Okay, do you see the German cross in Germany? Now, I kind of sound like I'm a fucking, I kind of sound like I'm a leftist saying this shit. But no, they don't still fly the Nazi flag in Germany, even though they support Nazis in Ukraine. What the fuck? Azov Battalion? Y'all ain't making sense. Get into the now. Y'all into the then. Hell, you almost had me go into the then. At the end of the day, I miss you guys. I love all you guys. I miss you. Yeah, I miss you guys. I miss you guys.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
None of y'all are any different. Hey, yo. I'm a black behind this mask. Niggas is fucking up. Niggas been fucking up. Niggas been fucking up since 1861. Some of them didn't even know that they were, air quotes, free and was fighting for the Confederates. The last man to surrender in a Confederate battle was what we would all call Native Americans. Yeah. Stop. Stan Watie. That's his name. Bro, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Timmy. Maybe you're right. Leave the past in the past. That was then, this is now. But some people, they acting like they mama. Got a lot of grudges going on. Got grudges on all sorts of levels. Yeah, history got facts and it points to shit. But it is what it is, man. I don't give a fuck. Neither should you. You were born in America. You represent a street block. But you say fuck America at the same time? Motherfucker, get the fuck out. You don't want to be here then. Get the fuck out. You don't want to be here then. Go on over there, bro. This ain't your shit. They treated you terrible. Get the fuck on. Do you. Now, whether you were of Irish descent, Scottish descent, African descent, European descent, Asian descent, oh man, dude, you are in one of the experiments that has worked better than the Austria-Hungarian Empire because they had it set up kind of like us. You're talking about 12 to 15 different languages and peoples and cultures and powers, all living in the same land. It started off individual. Then it goes familial, families. Then it goes from families to tribes, tribes. Then it goes from tribes to peoples, if we want to call it that. Peoples to nations. Nations to countries. Excuse me. Country is nation somewhat. It goes from nations and countries to regions. Regions to hemispheres. Sides of the world. Eastern civilization. Western civilization. Sides of the world. Then it goes, pretty soon it's going to be planet to planet to planet. The shit that we've been watching in sci-fi movies actually coming true to us, right? You know what? European Americans, neither the left nor the right want to call very, 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 very light. Those people that are lighter than ivory, you know what I'm saying? European Americans, because it could be, bigoted connotation, I guess. I don't know. And that's not right either in that, Rig's sake. I guess the only thing that annoys me is motherfuckers act like they were the only ones enslaved around here. I'm just a... you motherfucker. I had to do that. You shut. Riggs, you shut. I do it. Okay. Let's get on into some other stuff, man. Some of that booger nose MGTOW funk, right? 10 male behaviors labeled toxic. You are toxic. You're toxic, man. I'm the big hate you. And you don't stand up for women rights. Why don't you stand up for the rights of women? Why? Why don't you do it? What's wrong with you? Why do you gotta vote for Trump? Yeah. And fuck you. 10 male behaviors labeled toxic that are actually protective instincts. And they are. They really are. Real shit. Okay. Let's face it. The phrase toxic masculinity gets thrown around a lot these days, right? This shit goes on to say, well, it's important to call out genuinely harmful behaviors. Sometimes the conversation goes too far, labeling all traditionally male behaviors as negative, as the article says. But what if some of these so-called toxic actions are actually protective instincts? Hardwired ways men try to care for, defend, and support those they love. Kind of reminds you of the Avengers movie, one of the sequel episodes called Infinity War. When, what's the guy? Thanos. Thanos was about to get the Soul Stone. And you had to, I mean, basically, okay, we'll just go ahead and sum this up. You had to betray or down the one you've truly loved. And the one he did was Gamora. The adopted daughter of his, right? And he got the Soul Stone, right? But what got me is that, no, not the conquering and the subjugation of other nations. He would go on with this Black Order and fuck up some shit. And then he adopts his daughter to do the same and teaches her how to do it, right? But it's like this. There were male behaviors that you, and even as it was described in Infinity War, which was my favorite out of the whole thing. Real shit. That was my most favorite out of the whole thing. Because after that, the whole MCU was coming in and it was going down like a lead fucking Zeppelin. Right? The article here says, while it's important to call out genuinely harmful behaviors, sometimes the conversation goes too far, labeling all traditionally male behaviors as negative. And you hear it from the femtards. But what if some of these so-called toxic actions are actually protective instincts, hardwired ways men try to care for, defend, and support those they love? Understanding the difference, understanding the difference of it all matters. Not just for men, but for everyone who wants healthier relationships and a more balanced view of masculinity, right? Let's dig into 10 male behaviors, often misunderstood as toxic, but rooted in protective instincts. 1. Being overly cautious about safety. Now, to me, what I think that is situational awareness. We've had that 10,000 years ago, back in the warring of the tribes. And before that, in our hunter-gatherer phase, when we would hunt for our prize, which was the food. Now, according to this, it says, it's easy to roll your eyes when a man double checks or locks or insists on walking you to your car at night. But this isn't about control. It's a protective instinct. Duh. Men are often socialized to be guardians. We were raised to do that, even today. Some of you Gen Xers that were raised in the 70s and 80s, some of you millennials that were raised in the 90s and, the aughts, some of you Gen Z, the jury's still out on you. Okay. Instead of dismissing this, the article goes on to say is a paranoia. Recognize it as a genuine desire to protect. According to the NCPC, or the National Crime Prevention Council, I often call it stupid doo doo pee pee, right? Simple safety measures can make a big difference. Number 2, taking charge in emergencies. Some people see a man's tendency to take control during a crisis as bossy or overbearing. That sounds like bitch-made simp and femtard talk, man. What the fuck? In reality, this is a classic example of protective instincts kicking in. It's within and encoded into our DNA. Well, back to the article. Hold up. Many men feel a deep responsibility to step up, make decisions, and ensure everyone's well being when things go sideways. This isn't about dominance, it's about providing stability when it's needed most. Why? Because that's what the fuck we do. Number 3, suppressing emotions in stressful situations. While emotional openness is important, this article says, there are times when holding back tears or anxiety is a way men try to protect others from added stress, often criticized as emotional suppression, or how about this one, I might add. This is coming from Psychesoap, and you've heard this too in your family. Emotional unavailability. Emotionally illiterate. And you know what other ones they got. Fuck 'em. Let me keep going with the article. By staying calm and collected, men hope to reassure those around them and keep the group focused on solutions because they want to see progress. You have that within you. And you do it and you don't even know it. Just like these bitches start drama and get too overly picky. Because this is derived from the hunter-gatherer time of their lives where and in their ancestry where they had to look at different hues and shades of berries and shit to pick and gather for the family to eat so that they can survive. Shit like that. But let me keep going on. But financial caution, the article goes on to say, is a protective instinct aiming to shield loved ones from hardship. According to Pew research, men are still more likely to feel responsible for financial security in many households. Open communication about money can help them turn this instinct into a team effort. Number 5, vetting new friends or partners. Have you ever found yourself vetting new friends or partners? Have you ever seen that they've, the gynocentric society taking that very thing from you and putting it in the HR departments of many different companies and shit? Jealous bitches, you penis envy having motherfuckers. I know I just made up some word. My bad, true vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? I might want to contribute to the dictionary. I don't know. If a man seems skeptical of new people entering your life, it might appear possessive. But often this is a protective instinct at work. Men may feel compelled to assess whether someone has good intentions, especially if they sense potential harm. Instead of seeing this as jealousy, try to understand the underlying concern for your well-being, bitch. Oh, he's possessive. She doesn't. That guy does not want me to have male friends. He's so possessive. Fuck you! This is not jealousy. That guy is concerned for your well-being. Eat a dick. And I mean for real, in your bedroom. Get that shit together. Where did I go? Where am I at? Go back. I got more to say. Well, who is that? This is coming from taking charge of emergencies, man. So be cool. Where was I at? We talked about protective. Where we at? Number 5. We just did that. vetting new friends. This is where we get the vetting people from. Because back in the days, this was a trait, a character trait in all men to form an army. Yeah. We were generals before, they were, like they were seen as organized militias. The militias were here before ancient Rome, motherfucker. Ancient Egypt, really? We've had that for a long time. Okay. Number 6. Standing up to disrespect. When men confront someone who's being rude or disrespectful, it's sometimes called aggressive or confrontational. Aggressive! He's being confrontational. But standing up for friends, family, or even strangers is a protective instinct. It's about drawing boundaries and making it clear that mistreatment won't be tolerated. This can foster a safer, more respectful environment for everyone. Now, this particular character trait in the man has been misused, and it's turned into, wars. Fast forward, gang violence. Fast forward, military, organized military violence. It comes up to that. And it's been used for the wrong thing. It's been misappropriated. And it's been used to wreck your country's infrastructure. 7. Offering solutions instead of sympathy. Ever notice how some men jump straight to problem solving when you share a problem? Yeah, when a bitch gets all emotional on you and you go, why don't you just do A? Why don't you just do B? But in your situation, why don't you just do C? That's what I would do in this situation, right? Offering solutions instead of sympathy. We don't have that in our genetic makeup. Some of us weren't even taught that by our bitch ass mamas. What the fuck, man? What the fuck you think? Men are wired to fix things. We fix shit. And the article goes on to say, and offering solutions is their way of trying to help. If you need empathy, instead, let them know right out the jump. I don't mind that. But appreciate that their first impulse is to protect you from distress, to protect you from danger. Yeah, this also goes for protecting bull dykes, bro. You still, you're lacking a Y chromosome, and you still have some bits and pieces that are in line with your biological nature. You are hardwired to look for empathy when you're in distress. See, this is why we were seeing these articles against, some of these femtards saying this bullshit about a man, jumping straight to the problem-solving process. And it wasn't until the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s that we started seeing chicks, even if they were heterosexual, try to do us. But it was really a movie script. They had to have a fucking, what do you call that shit? They had to have a template to act like us when we act like that on instinct. Anyway, natural, okay? Hardwired. 9. Setting boundaries with technology. This is a nice one. If a man is wary about sharing personal information online or is cautious about kids' screen time, it's not just technophobia. See, women try to put that on a man, slap that little technophobia word on him, because they remember back in the days where they mamas or they dads told them to put that slutty ass outfit back in your drawer. You ain't going out like that. And this is their version of passing it on to their kids. Now, this is kind of different, but then again, not really. Look at the series Cuties on motherfucking Netflix, but we'll keep it going. It's a protective instinct in the digital age with cyber threats and privacy concerns on the rise. Being vigilant about technology is a modern way to keep loved ones safe because it gets real out here in the field. Psychesoap said that. Let me get back into this article, though. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, offers tips on how everyone can protect themselves online. Because haven't y'all heard about the 16 billion accounts that have been leaked? What the fuck? Well, they got our shit. And that, man, I don't even think that's China. I don't think that's Iran. I think that's us doing that to us so that they can get after enemies on the other side of the globe or the global south or whatever the fuck. 10. Encouraging self-reliance. Sometimes men push those that they care about to be independent or learn new skills. While this can be misread as cold or unsupportive, it's often a protective instinct. What a man is telling you to do is build your own armor, bitch. Get tough out here. Just like some fathers back in the 70s, 80s, 70s, 60s, and 50s, 40s, and on back, That's where the tomboys started. Even way back then, even. To, teach their daughters, delicate females, how to hunt, fish, trap, archer skills, build shit, make a stove to cook this food on, plow a land to put the seed in. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a wonderful thing. By encouraging self-reliance, men hope to equip loved ones to handle life's challenges, even when they're not around. And this is where the femtards of today is at. They're stuck on this shit. Why are you stuck on this shit? I've seen chicks that learned this shit back in the 90s and are actually applying it to life. While you, lady, you're faltering. What the fuck? And the article goes on to say, and I do agree, rethinking protective instincts, a new perspective on masculinity. It's time to stop painting all traditionally male behaviors with the same toxic brush. Many actions that get a bad rap are actually protective instincts, ways men try to care for and defend those they love. Recognizing the difference can foster healthier relationships and a more nuanced understanding of masculinity. Next time you notice one of these behaviors, and they're right, pause, and ask, is this really toxic? Or is it a protective instinct in disguise? Now, brothers, you're going to see this with, older femtards that are your mom's age and older. No. That's not the same. And they'll try to paint it to where, protective instincts are like women can do too. I could do it too. This bullshit they've been, shooting at us for the last, 6 decades? 3 generations? Whatever the fuck. 2 generations? Whatever the fuck. you ain't gotta prove to me that just because you got an axe wound between your legs and you're missing a Y chromosome, that you could do what I, or he, or him, or he can do. This is natural. We can't even control that. We don't even know we're doing it. Just like your ass don't know what the fuck you're doing when you're in the grips of hypergamy, right? Right? When you're picking the right mate, right? Can't be a problem, right? We can't get mad at that, can we? So, when we show you militant, problem-solving types behaviors, it's because we were hardwired with them. Some of this shit our moms didn't even teach us. Your football coach taught you that. Your drill instructor or drill sergeant taught you some of that. Your father taught you some of that. Or you learned it on your own out in the wild. Wow. And K-Plan, you see those feminists over there? Zap them! You zap them. Zap them, K-Plan. Yes, you must zap them. K-Plan, I see you. Zap them, K-Plan. There you go. K-Plan got him, yo. All right. This is a good show, man, fellas. It's the mighty show. Oh, God. All right. So I'm hitting to the 3.5 mark. Karnevil. You know, for those that don't know or haven't watched, usually I would, okay. While I still got you here, let me tell you this. In the bucket shows ahead, I might have to go back to my old slot, back into Saturday. I might have to go back to Saturday with it. We're gonna do one more Friday, 1 or 2 more Fridays of this bucket thing. If we change, you're definitely gonna know this shit. And there you go. All right, fellas. Oh, I got a few things I want to tell you too, and I'm gonna send a few ruminations talking about a few things, and man, shit, it is what it is. Now, let me take a brief side road real quick. Let me speak on RFK real quick. Yep, that guy, because these lobbyists and all of that shit, I don't know. I mean, all these, you know what I mean. Oh, God. Okay. The lobbyists really circled the wagons when this guy, got out there. And they tried to do him the same way that Hillary and the DNC did to Boyney way back in the election of 2016. Right? Now, don't get me twisted like a Dee Snyder sister or a begging ass Keith Wet. So, girl, you got me twisted over here. What the fuck? Well, we all expected for people like Trump and RFK, Pete Hegseth, and Cash Patel to drain the swamp. That's not gonna happen. And this is we're not even over with the first year yet, right? Because of that bullshit. That 2020 bullshit that Fauci was on. But let's keep that 100 cents, man. I mean, RFK ain't gonna do shit. But the same damn thing, Big Mike, Michelle Big Mike, what she did to the school lunches is the same thing RFK is gonna do to all of the fucking grocery section in your damn grocery store, man. You don't notice that? On an aggressive scale. Okay, before I get out of here, quick story time with the soap. I'm gonna have a little rumination for you on this, and that's cool, or for other shit. But let me get out of here before I do it. Quick story time with the soap. Check it. So, yeah. Now, I'm at work. Retail hell. And the other day, two bald, built, strong, looking, fellas, they were in checkout. They were in my lane. And one of them was considering dating a black woman. Yeah, dude. Like,
Now, steady, big fellow.
now, his friend was trying to keep him from doing that, from thinking about doing that. But check it. While I was checking in the items, I was chiming in, with this. Black women, they are the least sought after women in America. Now, get this. They both agreed. So I went on with, and I told them this. Oh, shit. Because my pill kicked in. American female nature is universal. Go overseas. Go overseas and leave that woman there. Leave them there because they're too busy trying to be like y'all. These chicks are trying to be like y'all, especially black women. They too busy trying to be like y'all. And then when I got done saying that, one of the fellas were like, see, this guy gets it. And so I go, yeah, that's what I know. That's what I know, youngin'. I mean, brothers, it's getting to the point to where if I see it in the small town I live, it's gotta be everywhere where you live. What the fuck? So yeah, man, stay on your guard with that. You don't want to be this guy doing monkey flips for a bitch, right? And that is what the fuck these guys be doing. That's what the hell they be doing for all these women's folks, and all this shit, And it's kind of dumb, man. Stupid as fuck. All right, let me see what's going on. Oh shit, K-Plan, zap him, K-Plan. Yeah. Oh no! We don't do that. Get him with the laser, K-Plan. Yeah, get it with the laser. The laser. Motherfucker's like, where's the picture? Yeah, K-Plan. Get him with the laser, K-Plan. All right, I'm finna get on up out of here, and man, it's another one of them nice buckets. We're gonna do a couple more of these Friday ones, and it's gonna be awesome. Stay awesome. I might even bring in a guest or two, or whatever. And I never hesitate to bring y'all the whole manosphere a heavy dose of the pure uncut raw booger nose MGTOW funk, baby, and you gonna love this shit. K-Plan, zap him, K-Plan. Shit. Yeah, let me get the fuck out of here. Peace, everyone. And don't forget to not miss the things that make you go, damn! Are you sure? Yeah, I've had a few glitches, one or two, but we'll put this on. Yeah, I don't know. I might get fucking nuked for the fucking intro. I might get in trouble for that shit, but I don't care. Let's get it. Let's get out of here. I'm out. Whoa. Wait. Hey, where's my theme song?
Psychesoap.